Good morning. How are we all doing, people? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It is a match day. Interesting one, right? Because every single Champions League game is on tonight. That's a lot of games of football all at the same time. The table is just going to go like this all night, isn't it? It's going to go there, through, they're not, they're down, they're not. Like, it's going to be very, very interesting. But Tottenham are away in Frankfurt. And again, bit like last week, we can talk about what's the 11 going to be. I think we kind of know the 11 is being picked for us, for Tottenham, Frank. Again, we have no footballers. Listen, I woke up this morning to a lot of people messaging me saying, where am I on two subjects? The first one was losing to Man City, and the second one was relegation. So let me just put this here now so that anyone can clip this, so that I don't have to keep answering this time and time again. In no way, shape, or form do I want to lose the game to Manchester City. In no way, shape, or form. Tottenham Hotspur are my football team. I want to beat Manchester City. My club are in a mess. We need points. In no way am I going to sit here and say, I want Man City to beat Spurs so that Arsenal don't win a league title? First and foremost, it's January. Second of all, this game has no direct implication. This one-off game isn't going to be the reason Arsenal or City win the league. So, I don't want to go down that route. I'm seeing lots of people talking about it now. Oh, let's lose this one. Well, we can't have a go at the manager and the players and the football club and then in the same breath say, oh, we'd like to lose this weekend. I don't get it. I didn't get it the last time. I was accused last time of saying I wanted City to beat Spurs. Never said it. Not saying it this time. I want Tottenham Hotspur to beat Manchester City. I'm a Spurs fan. Spurs, this side. Sorry, it's opposite my camera. This side. I don't get it. I'll be honest, I don't get it. I'm seeing debates all over social media and YouTube. I don't think it shouldn't be a debate. We are Tottenham Hotspur fans. We want Tottenham to beat Man City, right? Arsenal winning the league. If they win the league, they win the league. Like, what do you do? If they win the league, it's because they've spent, what, £1.2 billion on this manager over 5-6 years. I really can't see that any Spurs fan is looking at the situation we are in right now and is more worried about whether Arsenal win the league title or not. Do we want them to win it? Of course not. But at the detriment of Tottenham Hotspur and points and survival? No. Now, does that mean I think we're going to beat City? No, but that's a completely different subject. So I don't get it. I genuinely don't get it. I'm baffled when I see so many people posting about it, talking about it. For me, it's a non-subject. Tottenham are playing at home. We need to beat Man City. Will we? I don't think so, but that's nothing to do with the title race. That's to do with I don't think we've got the quality to beat them. However, Spurs do seem to grab wins against City when we're not expecting it. But I just don't see where the goals are coming from. I don't see any goal scorers in this team. I really, really don't. And that is why when people keep going to me, oh my God, look what Michael Carrick's done for Man U. Sure. But Michael Carrick's got a fully fit squad to pick from. And he's also got Cunha and Buemo, Bruno Fernandes. They've got players that can make stuff happen. We don't have those footballers in our squad. So I do find it all a little bit weird how football fans have gone like this. Surely we are Spurs. We want Spurs to win. I don't understand this City till July thing. I don't get it. Do I want City to win the title? Well, if it was between them and Arsenal, yes. Do I want City to win the title at Spurs' expense of losing points? No. Like it is what it is. Also, the second thing I keep getting as well is, do you think Spurs need to get relegated so that we get a reset? No, absolutely not. I genuinely don't think fans have thought this one through. Being relegated, I get it, right? I get it. A lot of the, by the way, I don't think we're going down. Let me just state that right now. Um, a lot of people, okay. If we get relegated, Enoch will definitely leave. Now, first of all, we don't know that. I get that. I get that. That's the theory behind this, but we don't know that, right? Now, if it's going to be that Tottenham need to get relegated for a reset, now let's think about this, right? A reset for what? This is a football club with the best stadium in the world and one of the best training grounds in the world. This is a football club with a lot of debt. This is a football club. We are. Now it's not unusual for companies to run with a huge debt, but the Premier League is what services that debt. The revenue that comes in from Matchday, right? The revenue from European competitions, the revenue from having better players to be able to sell. But also think about the Matchday ticket prices. How much cheaper would they be? Which again is great because fans, it's cheaper, but you'd be watching championship level football. Lots of the better footballers would go. And the amount of money coming into the club would be such that the debt isn't being paid off as much. Now, as football fans, we go, oh, we don't care about the finance. We don't care about the debt. You will when it affects whether we can come straight back up or not, right? You will. And this is why I think sometimes take a little bit of a step back when we say things. We should get relegated. It changes everything. Whoa. It would be catastrophic for Tottenham to get relegated. I do not want it in any way, shape, or form. Surely no Spurs fan wants it. Surely we're looking at the wrong angle here. Surely the angle needs to be, how do the owners change to facilitate the stadium, the training grounds, the history, the financial pedigree that we've got, rather than, hey, we should go down to reset. It's mad. Again, like, look, comments like this, again, not real Spurs fan. It's crazy. Forget Enoch. This is our football club. Do we really want to get relegated so that their value goes from 4 billion to 1.5? Why, as a fan, would you want that? Surely we understand that relegation would be absolutely disastrous for this football club. Now, again, I will state what I did at the beginning of this segment. I don't think we're getting relegated. I think a lot of people are talking as though we are 8 points above West Ham. What that means is between now and the end of the season, whatever we do, West Ham need to win 3 games more. Simple maths. If Spurs win 3 games, right? If Spurs win 3 games, West Ham need to win 6. It's quite simple. Or you can add loads and loads of draws, but it would need to be a lot of draws to get there. So for me, I don't think we're going down. I think, yes, February's tough. Yes, February is tough. But I think there's enough games throughout this season that we can win if we can get some players back fit. This is why, for me, the bigger issue, and everyone's just talking about the manager, the bigger issue was, for me, this transfer window. We had an opportunity to back the club. Forget the manager. We had an opportunity to back the football club, haven't we? We've had an opportunity to back the squad, back the team, back the playing staff, and we've not done it. And somebody just sent me this and said, yeah, use Leicester City as your argument for the cons of going down. Again, yeah, look at Leicester City. Leicester City have gone down. They're a mess. Leicester City are a mess, aren't they? They've now just had to sack their manager in January. They're a mess. There's no guarantees that going down, you come straight back up. Do we really want that? I can't. 0% of me wants that. Zero. There's not there's not a 1% of me that says, actually, yeah, going down doesn't mean I can't stand the owners. Have never been able to stand ENIC as owners. But going down, that's not the answer. Surely we're all there. Like, I don't understand anybody that's talking about wanting to get relegated. I don't understand anybody that's wanting to lose to Man City. I just think this is crazy talk. And again, we as Spurs fans seem to be so distracted from what the actual issues are at this football club. We have small issues and we have big issues. Let's be fair. Thomas Frank is a small issue. He will come and he will go. It's fine. Right? Johan Lang, a bigger issue, but still a small issue in the grand scheme of things. He will come and he will go. The bigger issue has got to be that we've been run like this and we've operated like this for 25, 26 years now. That's got to be the bigger issue in all of this. And, you know, when I look at transfer windows being open, when I look at how Spurs fans, especially online, talk, it's almost as though we're forgetting how long it's been heading this way. We stuck our head in the sands a lot, I think. We stuck a lot our head in the sands. And we want to use different things to distract ourselves. Like, I'm seeing Spurs fans posting all over social media going, Arsenal are bottling it. But I mean, right now, that should not be our concern. We don't have the right to laugh at anybody. By the way, bottling it, they're 4 points clear at the top of the table. Right now, my concern is, okay, Tottenham are struggling as a football club. Please, can we do something to help? Please, can we focus on the pitch? This is where I want to focus. Can we focus on buying some footballers and helping us get up that football table? Let's survive this year and then go again. And I don't think, yeah, and Tom, again, things like this, it's crazy. This is how you know where it's all for clickbait. Someone like Conor Gallagher plays 180 minutes and I told you he's done nothing. You're like, whoa. Hang on. Is that where we're at now? That's why I find this whole thing just very reactionary, very crazy. We need to be looking at the issues, the real issues. Conor Gallagher's not the issue, right? That's not the issue. The issue is, how are we going to get this team better? I've got people messaging me going, if this interim comes in, we automatically win 3 in a row. Based on what? Oh, because Man United have done it. Well, yeah, but Man United have also got all their players back fit, right? Man United have got all their players back fit. And Man United have got some really good footballers, right? Haven't they? You look, Cunha and Mbuemo, yeah, started the season slowly, but those two have got quality. We know their quality. Right? Bruno Fernandes, we know that he's quality. See, again, people that just say things like this, look, sorry, it's just crazy. We're ignoring everything else. We can sack Frank, but you've still got to back managers. You've still got to bring in footballers. This is the problem. As I've said before, how to get the team better, sack Frank. But the stats and the data for the last 3 years show it doesn't matter who is managing this club. We're a mess. And too many, as I said, like Drew there, we're not getting it, are we? We're not getting it. We're not getting it. What happens if you get rid of a manager now, a new manager comes in, and we don't win the next 4? Who are you going to blame then? Look at the players we've got available up front. And again, this is the problem. And I think the problem with social media now is we're not allowed to have this discussion, right? We're not allowed to have this discussion, right? So that there are many problems at the club, but the biggest problem by no way, shape or form is Frank. It's not, right? It's by no way, shape, or form, Frank, is the biggest issue at this football club. I know that fans don't do their homework. I get it. I get it. Especially a lot of online fans. I know they don't do their homework. They don't want the facts, right? And the facts are, right, this. This is truly worrying, by the way. When I put that stat out yesterday, that for 3 years, right, here you go. Let me make sure I've got this all aligned, right? Since the Antonio Conte rant, this is what makes me laugh, right? When people think this is going to be fixed by one man going, get rid of the manager. Okay, Drula, can you tell me how many times have you seen Thomas Frank have a first 11 out? Have you seen him have a first 11 out once in his Tottenham Hotspur career? His best 11. And again, clever use of words here. Never said that he's not some of the problem. But again, you think it fixes it. And I'm about to show you why it doesn't, because you've not done your homework, and guarantee. So since the famous Antonio Conte rant, we said yesterday, right? Since that rant, Tottenham Hotspur have accumulated less points than Brighton, Bournemouth, Fulham, Crystal Palace, and Brentford, right? Since that rant. Yet when fans like Drew go, what will make this team better is Frank leaving. Okay, can somebody explain to me then why for 3 years have all 5 of those small clubs all accumulated more points than us? Now, let's take it one further. Let's take it one further. And I saw this yesterday. This was sent to me yesterday. Hang on. Oh, I haven't added them to my screen. 1 second. Sorry. And again, people can't seem to have the bigger conversation. It's easy to just say, Frank, I get it. He's going to go. We know he's going to go. But I don't think people are actually looking at the actual facts. They're not looking at the facts. So those 5 teams, again, very well run smaller clubs, aren't they? They're very well run, right? It's not about have they got better 11s. They're very well run with a plan in mind. They've all had their managers for quite a long time, I think, other than, well, Brentford changed in the summer and had Frank for years. Silva's been at Fulham for years. Herzl's been at Brighton for years. Frank was at Brentford for years. Iriola's been at Bournemouth for years. And Glasner's now been for a while, right? No, but you need facts to show you that what you're saying isn't factually correct, right? So those 5 clubs have all accumulated more points than Tottenham Hotspur for a 3-year period. Now, I saw this, right, yesterday. Look at this. Since the famous Conte ran, only Forest, Everton, and Wolves have got less points than us. Now, what does that tell you? Forest, Everton, and Wolves are the only 3 clubs that have got less points than Tottenham for 3 years. This tells you this is deep. This is deep. Yeah? This is not Ange, Stellini, Mason, Frank. This is not one man. This is deep. Right? And I'm not saying Frank's the man. I'm not saying Ange is the man. But this is deep. And if we don't address the big issue, Drula, people like that are going to do this with the next manager, right? Where they're going to go, well, this manager's not getting the best out of them. The best out of them. What is the best out of this squad? 17th last year, 14th this year. At what stage do we think the penny is going to drop? What stage do we think the penny is going to drop? That maybe this goes way and above and beyond Frank or one player or one signing. This is deep. When we're talking about getting the best out of, we got 14 players missing to what is already a very average, fragile squad. So as I've said a million times, we can sack the manager. There's no problem with doing that. But we're going to be right back here again because we're not fixing the issues. We're not fixing the core issue. The core issue is up there. We're not fixing it. We are living in a society now where a manager comes in, they get 2 wins and they're lauded. They're lauded, right? They're absolutely lauded. What happens if this new manager comes in and nothing changes? Then are we going to realize? Are we going to realize that this is the worst set of forwards we've probably had in a Premier League era? When people are telling me this person's not, the manager's not getting the best out of these forwards. What is Richarlison's best? What is Odegaard's best? Tell's best? Solanke's best? What is their best? We've seen them struggle for years. What is their best? Who's the manager that we think gets the best out of them? And that's why when people say things to me, they don't listen, by the way. They think I'm sticking up for Frank. You can sack Frank. I've got no problem with that. Yeah, but he doesn't score many goals, does he? Not a goal scorer, is he? This is the problem. We've accumulated a lot of forwards that don't really score goals. Tell in his career has hardly scored goals. Odegaard doesn't score goals. Solanke's had 1 year in the top flight where he scored goals. And Philly is absolutely right. This is institutionalized failure. So as I keep saying, sack Frank, but you can't just sack Frank. There's so much more that needs to go with it. Now, to give some of you guys an idea of the facts I'm talking about, right? See, when we say this, but you see what? This is where I need someone to tell me what is the best. I need someone to show me the evidence from the last 3 years. What is the best of these players? Because since Conte's ran everybody, it has been 34 months, 9 days, 149 weeks, 1,046 days. So for 2 years, 10 months and 9 days, Tottenham Hotspur have only got 3 teams in the Premier League that have amassed less points. Maybe, just maybe, we can all start looking at the bigger picture. Now, if it takes Frank to be sacked to make that happen, then sack him. But there is zero evidence through the last 3 whatever years to show that these players are better than what we're seeing. And when I ask for it, no one can give it. But again, see, this is what you get. Point still stands, Frank's not the man. Sure, but notice how you haven't been able to answer the question. This is what I mean. So tell me, what should this team be doing with all of these injuries? What should this team be doing? What should we be doing? What should we be seeing? Now, maybe people don't like the style of play. Sure. But again, how can you have a nice style of play when you're not buying better footballers? Just asking a question. We are going to expect the next manager, by the way, as well, to do the same thing that we're asking of Frank. We're going to expect the next manager is suddenly just going to keep winning games. And these players are weak. They're not capable of it. And my worry is, who is that man that comes in? Who is picking that man? Is that man going to be backed? And we know the answer to all of this. Vinay and Lang will pick the next manager. Will they be backed? Never properly. We know the answer to that. We need to go deep. At some point, you've got to go deep and get to the core. At some point, and there's many that aren't there yet. There's many that aren't there. I think a lot of people are. So far, we've had 252 votes. And I think 87% of those votes realise that the biggest issue at this football club, the main issue, is ENIC. people are seeing us again. But notice how people like Drula, sorry, Drula, people use sound bites, but she can't answer what it actually means. When you say we need to find the right guy to come and get the best out of what we've got, what is the best of what we've got? I've just given you the data for 3 years. What is the best? I need answers from people like Drew because they're just sound bites. People say these nice things, right? We have bought players with no plan in mind for different managers. I think we've bought mentally fragile footballers. We've not bought leaders. When we try and buy leaders, people get annoyed. You buy Gallagher, don't want him. He's a leader. Oh, we might buy Robertson. Don't want him. He's a leader. It all stems from there. If you do not buy for a plan, this is what you get. You get a melting pot of a lot of different players that don't play in one way. This is not rocket science. It's never been rocket science. But we must be one of the only clubs that don't do this. We must be one of the only clubs that don't do this. We're one of the only clubs who don't seem to get this. The next manager will come in. These players at some point will down tools for that manager. Right? We're down tools for that manager. And then again, we'll go, oh, this manager's not getting the best out of the players either. Who's expecting anything from Gray, Odegaard, Tell, Richarlison, Solanke, Porro, Vicario? What is it that people have seen in these players in the last 3 years and gone, yeah, really good? I've not seen it. I don't rate most of them. I've not seen it. But we keep getting sound bites. It's the manager's job to get the best out of these players. What is the best out of these players? What is the manager's job? What is the best of these players? What have we seen? What have we seen that makes people go, God, these are much better than what we're seeing? No, I've noticed no one can ever answer me this. No one. Not one person has shown me this. No, again, this isn't what I said. This isn't what I said. There is a difference between promise and having the players ready to do it now. There's a huge difference. Players with promise should be coming off the bench every now and then. They should not be your main starters. Players with promise go on loan. Players with promise, don't normally play for clubs like Tottenham Hotspur in the first 11. They're slowly integrated in. And as I've said, I can't get an answer for anyone. There's a lot of people who talk a great game. There's a lot of people who talk a great game. But we should be doing this. But we should be doing that. Sure, but show me the evidence. No. But you just should show me the evidence then. If the 11 that plays tonight, right? We know what the 11 is going to be tonight, don't we? We know it's roughly going to be this because there's no one fit. We know it's roughly going to be what Ali Gold affected. I mean, I don't know what else he can do. Maybe Papa Sarr plays. If that 11 was playing for Wolves, we'd all go, what a bang average football team that is. Wouldn't we? We'd all say, what a bang of Vicario, right? Dogi's never done anything. Gray, Mawani, Odegaard, Solanke. We'd all say what an average team it is. Because it's Spurs, we say they should be doing better, these players. Now, I think when everyone's fit, we should be doing better. Yeah, I think when imagine this forward line now at Kudus, Kulu, and Maddison. You're doing better, aren't you? Of course. But you have fans that really overrate a lot of these players. They beat a man and we go, oh, see, he is good. Can't you see promise? With Tottenham Hotspur, we shouldn't be looking for promise. We should be looking at a first 11 and going, God, what a good 11 we've put together here. So I'll say it again for anyone that listens. But again, see, this is where I completely disagree. This isn't how human psychology works. Again, these players have shown for years they're not mentally tough. They don't have it, Dan. They're not leaders. They don't have it. They drop at every opportunity. When this manager tries to bring in a Gallagher, a Robertson, everyone moans. You can't just make people stronger on and off the pitch. You can upskill them coaching wise over a number of years, but if the mentality is fragile, the mentality is fragile. We've got too many that drop their heads, don't they, immediately? Bentancur. No, Jim, I've not been given an answer, Jim. Here you go. I bet you. We'll do this now. I'll ask Jim. So, Jim, you tell me what you've seen in the last 3 years. Yeah? What we've seen in the last 3 years that tells you most of these players should be doing better than they are. I'll ask that. Go on. There you go. Give me an answer. I bet you don't give me an answer. I bet you I get a soundbite from you. Let's see an answer. Can anybody in the chat give me an answer to the question I'm asking? Anybody? Can anybody? I will wait. I've been asking this for so long and nobody can answer me. Because the 3 years doesn't lie. In that time, we've signed poorly, but there's no mentality. Right? There's no mentality in these players. When you buy weak young players, they don't have that winning ability. They don't have that mentality. I haven't seen what I'm waiting for one. I haven't seen one. People keep saying I'm ignoring them. Somebody give me an answer. Nobody's giving me an answer. What have we seen from these players that are available now that makes you think they should be doing better? I see a very, very... See, again, as I said, everybody, there you go, guys. Thank you. YouTube 101 couldn't answer, could he? So he said, no, I don't think our players should be playing for Orient. I just don't think they're as good as many of you think. And the data for the last 3 years shows me that it's not good. We have a sample size of 3 years to show you how fragile most of these players are and this football club is. But we don't want to listen to it. We don't want to acknowledge it. Instead, you haven't answered. You have not answered, Jim. Where's the answer? Where's the answer? Can anyone see Jim's answer? I can't see. World Cup winners and European winners. So why for 3 years have only 3 teams got less points than us in the Premier League? Hasn't answered the question. It's not an answer. Okay, so I'll ask you again. So if they're all that good, if they're all as good as you say, then why for 3 years have only 3 teams got less points than us in the Premier League era? Why? Why? If they were as good as you say, that would be bad form, wouldn't it? You'd have 3 months of bad form, not 3 years. You wouldn't have 3 years of this. Do you know what I mean? There's a huge difference for me between form and norm. Now, if anyone hasn't heard that, Sambo, the form is, oh my God, look at the last 10 games. It's been really poor. The norm is, hang on, over 3 years, we've been shit. This is what we are now. This is what we do. We have a good game every now and then. And people go, there you go, look how good they are. All teams do that. I remember last year, Ipswich had some great wins, didn't they? Didn't mean they were good enough. And it just goes to show that when we're asking for things that we've never actually seen, maybe, just maybe, it's because they're not capable of it. Maybe that's why Arsenal, over the last 5-6 years, have bought better footballers. Villa keep buying better footballers than they had to get them up there. We're not buying better footballers than what we have. On the whole, we're not building with a plan. No plan, poor signings. What's the identity? What's the philosophy? What do we want the football club to be? All of these things, for me, this isn't rocket science. This is not rocket science, people. I don't think it's ever been rocket science. As I said, when Frank goes, I think what it will do is it will give people a short-term burst of energy. It will give them, the weight off the shoulders. And then I think we're going to go straight back to this very, very quickly. And when we do, because we're seeing that trend with every manager. They have a really good start, then it drops and we go, oh, why? Well, because the players aren't good enough to maintain that level. Right? How many players in this Spurs squad are capable of having 10 good games in a row? 8 good games in a row, 5 good games in a row. Even our better players, even Romero, for example. Romero, one game, you go, cool, what a player. And then you have 2 or 3 games where you go, God, he looks awful. And this is the difference, right? The Liverpools, the Cities, the Arsenals, the Villas now. These players, these clubs assign players that are more consistent. They give you 3, 4 good games in a row. They can cope with 2 games a week because their squads are deeper. So this isn't me saying, keep Frank. We all know he's going to go. I always get accused of just blindly backing. I'm not. He's going to go. As I said, my issue as a Spurs fan is that I'm a Spurs fan, right? I'm a Spurs fan first and foremost. Whoever the manager, managers come, managers go. It's absolutely fine. But the bigger issue is we don't have a plan to back up what happens next. We don't have a plan to back up what happens next season. We don't have a plan that tells you this is what we're going to do in transfer markets. And it's very funny because all the same fans that I saw all last year while we were 17th saying, oh, but injuries, what's any manager meant to do? Now we've got a worse injury crisis this season. Suddenly it doesn't matter. Now, I don't want to lean heavily into injuries because I think all clubs get them. But this manager not once has been able to put out his best 11. Not once. Not once. We're never going to see it. We're never going to see it. My hopes and prayers for Tottenham are that we do put in a plan, that we do implement a plan, and that we can stop worrying about men in suits, that we can stop talking about men in suits. We can stop talking about who the manager is. No team can lose this volume of game if the players are that good. We have lost 31 out of 61 Premier League games since the start of last season. But we don't want to look at that. 31 defeats. But again, that doesn't happen in 6 months. That takes time. He was at Brentford for years, mate. Players develop at different states. That was for years and with a plan. Got to remember, you've got a plan. So many people I can tell don't understand coaching at all. To coach, you need a plan. You need a set plan. You need a team that is settled. You need an identity. And all of that works together to allow players to coach into a set system, in a set team. We don't have that. See, again, Julian, now you're lying. This isn't what was said. This isn't what was said. As I said all this year, I don't like using injuries. I don't like using injuries. Injuries are a part of football, right? Injuries are a part of football, as they are for every football club. I just would have liked to have seen this manager get some chance to play some games without any injuries. We got to see that with Conte and with Jose and with Ange. We've not seen that once with this manager. We haven't seen this manager once have his better players all on the pitch at the same time. I don't know. That's not different to last year, but we're not getting it. Whether it's Frank or not, this is still going to be a thing next year. This is still going to be a thing. We're unable to get any consistency out. We're not buying the right players. We're not implementing a plan. There's no plan. There's no one could tell me what a plan was implemented. It's not about just results. We don't ever see a plan in the way we structure our transfer windows on the pitch. That we don't see any plan. We're not seeing any plan, and no one could tell me they've seen any form of a plan. Yeah, look, of course, it's very different to Brentford, but what he did at Brentford was brilliant over 7 years, right? What he did over there, having the time to coach. But again, look at clubs like Brentford, look at clubs like Bournemouth, right? Look at clubs like Brighton. They are really well-run football clubs, aren't they? They are really, really well-run football clubs. They know if they lose this player, they know the mold of player that's coming in to replace that because they've put in a philosophy and an ethos. We've never had that. When we buy players, it's like, let's just get him. What style do you fit into? It doesn't matter. It's like, okay. And that's where we're at, right? Because we've not implemented anything. As I said, when I have football discussion, so I'm in a WhatsApp group, the only WhatsApp group I'm in with loads of coaches that I used to work with. When you actually have that football conversation, you see the difference between that and YouTube. The level of conversation is like people actually get it. Like, yeah, listen, like my mate yesterday, my mate actually coaches at Reading. And he said, here at Reading, he said, we've had so much upheaval. He said that the players don't know if they're coming or going. He said there's been so much upheaval, different owners, different players coming in, different managers. He said there's so much upheaval. And he said when we were at our best as a club years ago, he said it was very, very consistent with a plan within the club. And he said, and since that's fallen apart, so has everything else. He said, you know, managers need to work with a plan. It needs to be calm. You need a plan. You need an ethos and a strategy. To coach, players need to trust, respect you as well. Yeah, but that's not how coaching works. But okay, cool. I can't do it anymore. Like as I said, when I speak to coaches about this, coaches will tell you you need some calm. You need some calm. You need time to coach. When I see fans say things like, "This guy's coached no one better in 6 months," like, well, hang on, yeah, because the team is different every 3 days. Because we've got no players. We've got no time to coach. We've got no time to build an 11 and go, right, we can now coach this player in slowly. This is what we don't seem to ever have at the football club. This is what we don't have. But you look at the clubs that do have that. Look how well they coach players. Brentford, Frank did it for years. Brighton with Herzl and before that, De Zerbi. Right? Bournemouth with Iriola. These clubs are settled. Very settled football clubs. And for some reason, we can't seem to understand that. No, but Dan, we're talking about coaching as a whole. You need to be settled. You can't have a game every 3 days with 14 players missing, right? Players missing week in, week out, different 11 because you can't keep anyone fit. There's no transfer plan. When that's all settled, you can coach. Look at Poch. It was calm for years, wasn't it? It was calm. He could just coach. It was calm. It was calm. There was just calmness. We don't have any calmness. We haven't had stability, Jason. We haven't had stability, though, have we? Can you tell me a time this year when we've had stability? I don't know when we've had stability. We haven't once had our best 11 out. And as I said, again, but James, you don't know that he isn't, right? This is, again, as I always say, you don't know that he isn't because he's not screaming it in public doesn't mean that he isn't, right? This is the thing. We all talk like we don't know. I fail to believe that Frank isn't asking for players. He came out, didn't he, before and said, look, he said, we're going to be active in the market. I want players in early. Don't want to wait till the last week. But this isn't about Frank. Again, I find it strange. People are like, this isn't about Frank. This is about the bigger picture at the football club. bigger picture at the football club. This has now been, what, 6 managers in 6 years. Are we not learning that this constant chopping and changing with no stability and no plan is killing the football club? We expect managers to coach in 6 months. It's madness. It's absolutely madness. It's truly worrying for me how we're not getting there. It's truly worrying for me how we're not getting there. But you've got no way of knowing this. You know, look, at the end of the day, we think he might be a bit of a pushover, but he came out in the summer, didn't he, and said the recruitment team at the moment, they don't understand what I want. So that's not a pushover, is it? So, but couldn't we say that for Conte? So is Conte a pushover? So Conte took Spence and Conte took Richard. Like, do you know what I mean? Is Jose a pushover? I feel like listen, we're just going around in circles, aren't we, as a football club? Because we've not implemented anything. But, you know, we change everything at the football club without actually implementing anything. Lots of men and women in suits come and go, don't they? No. See, again, this is not. Carrick has improved United in 6 days more than Again, it's this sort of comment, which is why I just give up on YouTube fans. Michael Carrick has put some feel-good factor into Man United, right? With all of their players available and fit, yeah, and players like Cunha and Buemo and Bruno. Right? This is not Carrick hasn't coached them in 6 days. But if Michael Carrick loses the next 2, the same fans praising him now will be the same fans going, nothing's changed at United. We are so knee-jerk, aren't we? We are so knee-jerk. We've seen this under Jose, under Conte, under Ange, under Nuno, under Mason and Stellini, now Frank. Haven't we all hit a brick wall with this? Haven't we all hit? So, Jim, when you say the patterns of play, haven't they had like 35% possession in the games or something? Like, I saw a very good transitional team that got the ball forward quickly to Mbeumo, to Cunha, to Bruno, and they were excellent. But it's 2 games. It's 2 games. You could say, look at Spurs' first 2 games. Look how good we were against PSG. Look how good we were against Man City. It's 2 games. It's too knee-jerk. It's so knee-jerk. The same fans praising this. If we had signed Michael Carrick, people would be going, this guy got sacked from Middlesbrough in mid-table. He's never won anything. Now, 2 games later, he's the Messiah. I think he's doing a very good job in the first week he's been at the club. Absolutely. Well done to him. But it's a long way to go. Can we just calm down just a little bit? Like, we're too reactionary. We're so reactionary. Spurs need a long-term plan, not somebody that can come in and fix 2 games. Spurs need a long-term plan. Sure, but Jim, we don't have Cunha and Buemo and Bruno Fernandes in our first 11, do we, mate? I guarantee right now, if our front 3 was Bruno Fernandes, Cunha and Mbeumo, we'd be doing better than we are. Context, you say context is key. Yes, it is. Yes, context is key. We've got Odegaard, Tel and Solanke. Context is massively key. Look at that goal Cunha got out of nothing the other day. We have no one in our team capable of doing that. We have no one in our team capable of doing that. And this is what I mean. When fans are now using United for 1 week as the example, right? This is how you know our fans are all over the place. If we had signed Carrick, everyone would be going mad. This guy failed at Middlesbrough. He's done well, but there's a long way to go. So Football London have said this. And again, for people who called him a pushover, Frank is desperate for reinforcements this window. But he told Football London that he's not so desperate that he wants the club to just bring in anyone. Now, I don't know. Is that a yes man or not a yes man? I don't know. Is it a yes man because he wants to bring in his own players? I don't know. I don't know. Okay, but for the whole season until recently, we had Xavi. Yeah, Xavi's not as good as Bruno Fernandes. Yeah, Kudus isn't as good as Mbeumo, and Mawani isn't as good as Cunha. These players aren't on the same level. These players aren't on the same level of what you've just mentioned, mate. Not yet. Xavi, I think, will be, but not yet. He's got all his defenders to pick from, all his midfielders to pick from, all his forwards to pick from. There's a huge difference. Surely you see that, Jim. It's when you go into a club and I'd love if Carrick came in right now with 14 players missing and beat Arsenal and City the way that he has with United. Hats off to him. We don't have the forward players they've got. We don't have that in us. We don't have what Cunha could do. We didn't sign anyone as good as Cunha. Again, David, as I said in the summer, yes. United spent £200 million on ready-made forwards in the summer. I don't even know what this means. Some kind of Tommy Robinson. I don't know what that means. Okay, sure. As I said, I'm trying to look beyond Frank, but there's so many that can't seem to see the bigger picture here. I'm interested to see when this new interim manager comes in, what will fans like Jim Neutron say if he doesn't win his first two? What will he say? Because apparently there's no excuse for it. I said here, we're in the market. We're doing everything we can, see if we can improve the squad. We said that the whole time. I think it's, of course, when things are not exactly what we wanted and we have some injuries, you can be pushed and forced to take decisions you don't really want to take. So we need to be very, very smart and cool and calm and take good decisions. Yeah, I mean, we've heard this before from all managers. Doesn't mean anything if we're not signing players, does it? Yeah, Jim, look, it's just a debate, mate. Jim, it's just a debate. Of course it is. It's fine. I just think when the interim manager comes in, fans like you, I want you to come back. If we don't win the first two, I want you to come back and acknowledge maybe why didn't we? This season, I've seen so many people that are flavour of the month. So many people that are flavour of the month. So far this year, I've had spells of, Carrick, Glasner, Iriola, Marco Silva, Reggie Lebris. Everybody gets a turn of being flavour of the month when their team. Dude, we haven't got any of our players fit. What do you mean? We've got no right winger, no left winger. We've got no ball playing midfielder. Maddison's out. Kudus is out. Kulu's out. What do you mean? You've got to have your players available, mate. You've got to have your players available. We're making out. We're making out as though this manager's got his best 11 and we're not seeing anything. I'd like to see it once, just once. The next manager can come in and again, we're going to all have to keep the same energy, right? The next manager's going to come in and apparently these players are a lot better than we're seeing. Cool. Let's start seeing us win each week. I don't think it's going to happen. I genuinely don't think it's going to happen. This again, fans like this, sorry, Ferg, love you to bits, but this makes no sense. We need the manager out and the director of football and the owners plus lots of players. So if we're saying we need loads of players, but we're judging this manager for not getting the best out of the players we want to replace, which one is it? Be consistent. If you don't think the players are good enough, then you can't blame the manager. Can you? I I feel like as a club, we're going round in circles. I feel like we're going round in circles. And as I said, this year I've hit my limit with it. I've hit my limit with it of people not realizing how but one, not realizing how poor the squad is. Two, then when you add all the injuries on top of that, I don't know what I don't know what any of these people expect when you look at Tells and Odebers and Solankis and Richarlison and Moanis. I don't know what anyone thinks is expecting. What is when you guys see, right? When you guys see a forward line that of these players, what are any of you expecting? Who? Sorry, who? Go on then. Go on. Sorry, Ferg. What do you know the rest of us don't? Some of the targets Frank seems to want. Listen to that sentence. What? Who are the targets he seems to want that are baffling? We're not linked with anyone. Who are you talking about? Who are you talking about? Sorry. When on earth has Thomas Frank gone on record and said he wants Mateta and Strand Larson? Again, see what you're doing is projecting, right? Because the club are so bad in the market, you're projecting now that these are Frank's targets. Now, this seems like the sort of player. This seems like the sort of player Spurs would go for because we're in a panic, not because this is Frank's target. But it's easy for you to just blame Frank, right? I get it. I get it. It's easy to just blame Frank. I get it. I completely get it. There are things we can blame Frank for, but when we're going to start blaming him now on transfer windows, when you can clearly see the man needs players in. As I said, I'm interested to see, and everybody that is so adamant, the Fergs of this world, the Jim Neutrons of this world, when a new manager comes in, there's no excuse, right? They must hit the ground running because it's not the players. From the press. When have the press said Thomas Frank specifically wants Strand, Larson, or Mateta? Come on. I can see it. Yeah, Stuart, I can see it. But are you telling me, you're telling me that Thomas Frank has turned around and gone, I want Strand Larson? Exactly, Mark. Frank wanted Eze, Gibbs White, Semenyo, Savio. It's so worrying. As I said, people like Ferg just take their own, they put their own spin on it to dig in even more. They put their own spin on it to dig in even more. But I can't even deal with it. This is so sick. I can't even deal with it. Do you truly believe that Thomas Frank? No, you're not listening, Ferg. I've got no doubt Spurs will probably try and hijack one of those deals. You truly believe that that's what Thomas Frank wants? So if Spurs go and buy Mateta now, we're blaming that on Thomas Frank. The guy that wanted Eze, Savio, Gibbs White, Morgan Rogers. But we're going to, like, it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Let's have a look. So there you go. There you go. So this is the league table since the Conte rant. This is the league table since the Conte rant 3 years ago. This is the Conte, since the Conte rant. Look at it. Right? So since the Antonio Conte rant, this is Tottenham. This is Tottenham since the Antonio Conte rant. Look at all of the teams below us. right? By the way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those teams have been in the Championship in that time. So you look, Brentford, Fulham, Palace, Bournemouth, Brighton. But this is all Frank's fault. But the players are better than we think. Look at that. 48 defeats in that time. 48 defeats. Lubo.
Morning.
Morning. I keep being told Spurs are better than they are. What? Look at this. This is 3 years. This is 3 years. We're below Thomas Frank's Brentford, the manager that's not good enough. We're below Brentford.
Where's that taken? Where's that 109 games taken from?
From the Antonio Conte rant.
Right. Okay. So that was that was 10 in the first, 2 lots of 38s in the 23. Yeah.
No. But again, this is what I mean. Look how far off Europe. Look how far off Europe we are in terms of Champions League, for example, and Europa League. Look how far off we are. I just don't know what people are expecting. I don't know why anybody is looking at this squad, these players, this football club as a whole, and saying we are better than this. We're a mess. We're a mess from top to bottom. This is a massive mess.
This is what it is.
By the way, lots of reports coming in the last 5 minutes that Mwani's loan is going to be terminated. I don't know how true that is. But
listen, if he obviously doesn't want to be at the club, you can see it's affecting his performances, and we certainly don't need a player out there that's not giving 100%. So if he wants to go, he goes. Finished. You only want players who want to play.
Sure. So, just quickly. Jim, I think again, see, this is this is a simplistic view. It's not about Brentford have had a better squad than us. Brentford have got a plan and an identity as a football club. So when Brentford bring in players, they bring players in with a plan in mind. And for 7 years, they had a set manager, Jim. For 7 years, the recruitment team at Brentford knew what Thomas Frank wanted. So when they brought in players, they fit in seamlessly. We have had, is it 6 managers in 6 years, Lubo?
6, yeah, 6.
6 and 6, Jim. How can you, you can't keep buying players for different managers and expecting it all to fit like a glove every year. It's just mad. It's just mad. Oh, no. Yeah, Danny, did you see this?
Yeah, I was just seeing that as well. This is
Can't hear you, mate. It's very quiet. I can hear you, but it's like...
But can you hear me? Is it a bit better now?
Yeah, much better. Yeah, look.
Okay.
Danny, 3 years. Yeah. That's since... that is since March the 19th, 2023, right? Yeah, so, okay, we're what, 45 days out of it being 3 years. This is Tottenham Hotspur, yet I'm led to believe that we are a much better club than what we're showing.
I think that's when you look at it in this perspective. This is why I've been saying that I'm not in much as uproar as I've seen other fans, because I see us for what we are. We are. I mean, we're lower than Bournemouth, Brighton, Crystal Palace, Fulham, and Brentford in the last 3 years. So why do people expect us? Savva, I remember saying, right, when we had Harry Kane and Son, that when it was that point where we were literally getting bailed out of games by them, I looked at that team and I was like, we are literally a relegation team without those two players who are bailing us out. Didn't we finish like 8th or something like this, or 7th in 2 seasons in the last couple of years before Conte, right? And when you look at the overall, it's really evident to see that our players are just nowhere near the standards of where we should be. And I think the problem is, what I see the most in the fan base is that it's hopium, right? It's like, and it's also a bit of copium too. It's kind of like the fans have seen us for what we were many years ago, and they're still trying to hold us to the standard of where we were, but not actually looking at what the reality is of what's going on at this football club. And by doing that, is they're making themselves believe that we are actually better than what we are. But if you actually look at the data, you look at the over the years since Pochettino, the squad has regressed and regressed and regressed and regressed and regressed, right? But yet fans still think that we're at that point where we were with just before Pochettino left, right? And we're not. We are below. We are the Brentford levels right now. We are the Fulham levels right now. That is our level.
The worrying thing is, somebody just, again, the point of this, of showing this again, is this shows that there are only 17 teams that have been ever present, right?
Yeah.
Actually, who went down? Did Wolves go? I can't remember. Of the 17 teams that are ever present, only 3 are worse than us. Like that is that. And don't get me wrong. Again, this isn't a piece on, oh my God, we must keep Thomas Frank. It's not, Danny. I don't care.
No.
But the bigger picture is that when people are going, we should be seeing more than this. None of the evidence they can give me suggests we should be seeing more than this with these footballers. And bearing in mind, some of that was with good players like Kulu and Maddison and Son. Now the players we've got are worse than that. So, Lubo, I'll ask you, why is it that we're so up in arms with where we are in the league when you see that we've been drifting there for years?
I'll tell you what I think. It's a strange one. You look at the stats. They tell the story, but this team turn up for Europe. They're there. They turn up for Europe. You see a different football team when we're playing in Europe. And for me, I looked at that last week against Dortmund, and that was a bloody good performance against a good side, and we made them look poor. So you just think, well, where did that performance come from? That performance has been there. So why aren't they performing at a high level?
It's what I've said, Lubo.
Because they're not capable of doing that.
Yeah,
they are because they showed it last week. And if
no.
Hang on. If you say they're not capable, Sam, if you say they're not capable of being at that level for 70-75% of the games, they are capable of getting to that level. Okay. For a higher percentage than what they're showing.
So let me ask this question then. So when there are shocks in cup games, right? Hang on. So when a team like Bristol City, I'm making this up, when Bristol City knock out Fulham of an FA Cup or knock out a Leeds from an FA Cup, why aren't Bristol City able to play like that every week? Because players can raise their game Lubo, over 3 years, the data doesn't lie, does it? And I think Sean is right here as well, by the way. I think Sean is absolutely right. The European football is not as physical.
I've been saying this as well. I've been saying this for so long. It's nowhere near. I said this last week as well, Sam. You could see, but you could also see in the Dortmund game, right? It was far more open than the Premier League. It was far less. It was far less physical. And Xavi Simons glowed in that game, like he was glowing, right? Because he had more time on the ball. It wasn't as getting barged off the ball by the physicality of the Premier League defenders and midfielders, right? It's and this is why I keep saying that you can't hold the comparison between the Champions League and the Premier League, because your Premier League is something you play week in, week out for 38 games a season, where the Champions League is a knockout tournament, right? If you don't win those games, you might win some, you might lose some. But even PSG when they won the Champions League last year, they lost in the I think in the group games before they got to the final and won it. It's like anyone can lose, but if you can maybe have a better performances on a one-off game or two games over 2 legs, you can go through. That's how the Champions League works. But in the Premier League, if you're consistently poor, right? The results do not lie. That is what the way you finish at the end of the season. That is what shows you your metric of how you've been consistently over a course of 38 games. And over the last 3 years, we're being consistently below average for where we should be. And that's because of so many fundamental things that are going on with this football club.
But
You've
doesn't it
got
show over the years, Danny? Over the years, you look how many times, it doesn't matter what, it doesn't matter what state Spurs are in. We've managed to beat Man City. We've managed to beat Man City when they're like 15 points clear at the top of the Premier League table, right? Players can raise their game every now and then, but average players can raise their game. Top players are consistently there.
Yeah.
And the problem is, if that data over 3 years shows... Now, let me bring this up again,
Savva,
right?
can I just ask one thing, right? Do you ever used to play football?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Right. So was there certain times you'd go out, right, and you play, whether that was 11-a-side game, 5-a-side game, 7-a-side game, right? You go out and all of a sudden, you one day you're like Lionel Messi, and the next day you're like you're like Gary Doherty or something like this. It's like that is exactly what you see in modern in football at any level. Like sometimes you can have a good game, sometimes you have a bad game, but the best players, right, they are consistently at the top of their game because they are better quality players. And that's the difference. That is the difference. That is why I say our players are below average for what we expect. There's only 6 or 7 players in that squad that could get into teams from anyone in the top 10 right now. 6 or 7 players. That is
Sean makes a point. But Sean makes a point, right? So, what people always say to me all the time, when you look at this data, right, that in that time, Spurs have got less points than Brentford, Brighton, Fulham, Bournemouth, and Palace. People always go, oh, but they haven't all got better squads. No, but they've actually put a team together. They've actually built a team with the club in mind. Can anyone tell me in the last 6 years, 3 years, 5 years, when have we actually built a team with a plan in mind? Right? We've got a lot of weak players. You look like Odegaard might be good. For me, they're quite weak footballers. Gray is weak.
Yep,
Bentancur for me is pretty weak.
Yep.
Right? Spence is lackadaisical. One day he looks brilliant. The next game, you can't really be bothered. Porro, for me, defensively is very weak. Vicario, weak. Right? We haven't gone out and bought a team. We have not gone and bought a team at all that suits a manager. And I think Sean's right here. Right? The league's changed. It's got a lot more physical. Spurs have not kept up with that. Spurs have not kept up with that.
Well, look. Do you know what? I'll give you an example, right? Semenyo is your perfect example of a modern day winger, right? Strong, quick, powerful, good on both feet. He's not, I wouldn't say he's the best long range distance shooter like, say, Son was back in his day, but he's a different type of player to how Son was when Son was at the peak of his game, right? And why is it that Semenyo is doing so well? Is because he has got all the attributes of what it takes to be a successful winger who can score goals regularly in the Premier League. Because you need physicality, you need power, you need pace, you need a bit of good on both feet, completely versatile. He's the epitome of a modern day Premier League winger, and that's why Man City went in and bought him when they could, because they know that he's going to improve their team, and he's already showing that. So why is it that Tottenham wanted him, right? Because of that reason, because he's a modern day player.
But say that again with Frank. People saying, what did Frank want? In the summer, he wanted Morgan Rogers, who is the epitome of that. Yeah. He wanted Gibbs White, powerful. He wanted Eze, powerful. Those players are powerful footballers. And my point is, when I see people say, like, we don't want to be like Brentford and Bournemouth, I think they're missing the point. You're missing the point. You can sign ready-made players, but the point is those clubs sign with a plan in mind. When Brighton, do you remember when Brighton lost Caicedo? They'd already had, Belieber had already been bought into the club, right? And I believe was out on loan somewhere, getting ready, right? This is what they do. This is what those clubs do because they know how they play. Right now, what we do is just go and sign him, and him. But there's no plan in mind. No one knows what we are as a football club. No one, if I asked you right now, Danny, what is a Tottenham Hotspur footballer? Can you honestly tell me what it is?
I'll tell you what it is. It's Archie Gray. It's a weak midfielder, a weak player who's got no physicality, who can't pass the ball properly. That's the epitome of a Tottenham player right now. Like, no confidence in big games. This is it. This is exactly it. Our players are a bunch of cowards, right? Who cannot get themselves up to play like the standard and the level they did against Borussia Dortmund week in, week out, because it is a far more physical league, and they're just not up to the standards of playing like that every week. They just cannot. That's why we've done marginally better, a lot better in Europe in the last 2 years than we have done in the Premier League.
No, look, I completely agree with you. As I said, I don't give a shit who the manager is. I want a plan.
Yeah.
I don't care any of these names. I don't care any of the people in suits. I don't care any of the people running the right. None of it matters who is here unless there is a plan.
Yeah. And I think that's a big problem as well, Savva, because like when you it's why I keep saying, like, people, the amount of times I've heard fans this season say, "Oh, we should be doing better," but like, wasn't there a statistic that in, was it 60 or something games between, was it, or 100 games between Tell and Odebear, they've scored like 6 goals between them in like 100 appearances.
They played 66 Premier League games between them and got 6 goals. But again, I don't blame them, Danny. I don't blame them, because that shouldn't have been bought as first team options anyway.
Yeah, but I blame them for saying that these players should be doing better than what they are capable of.
The fans saying it, I think, are silly, right? But I don't blame the players as such. Let's be brutally honest. If you buy, if over a 3-year period, the forwards you buy are Brennan Johnson, Valise, Tell, Odebear, Solanke, and Richarlison, right? If that is what you accumulate over a 3-year period, why is it people think we should be scoring loads of goals? None of those players have ever scored loads of goals in their careers.
No.
None of those players have ever been consistent.
No.
None of those players have done it at a top club, right? But we have fans going, can't believe we didn't win that 3 or 4-0. Now, the example of that is, look at the weekend. Against Burnley, we had 21 shots, right? Something like 13 on target. I don't know the exact numbers.
I think it was 17 shots, 11 on target, I think.
Right. Okay. So now imagine we had Mbuemo and Cunha in that forward line against Burnley. That game is won. Suddenly you're higher up the table.
Do you know what, Savva, as well, right? That Burnley game, just because of the draw, because of the way we had to come back into it, right? The fans forget the whole game. Overall, in the whole game, we should have won that game. There's no doubt about that in my mind. We should have put it to bed. But then when you've got Dominic Solanke, right, at 5 yards out, he's got the whole goal gaping in front of him. And
come on, let's not do that to players. Let's use their names. Come on, let's use their names.
All right, but I mean, but seriously though, Savva, he's 5 yards out and he's got the whole goal in front of him, and he heads it straight at the keeper. It's like, did you see Xavi Simons' reaction when he did that? He's like, what the fuck? Like, come on! Like, it's a simple header. All he has to do is guide that ball either side of the goal, and it's a goal. Right, but
Danny, the point is, right, I agree with you. The point is, though, I don't go into games with these forwards and think we're going to batter this team today.
I don't either.
Right, and this is why people keep saying, "Oh yeah, but like Conte and Jose look at the crap defenders they had." Sure, but they had top forwards who put the ball in the back of the net, and that's what wins you games, right? We are a club where, now what will happen is, if a Odebear or a Solanke scores tonight, people go, there you go, really good. But when we're talking about consistently, can these players consistently go on runs of form where they score goals? I've never seen it from any of them in their career, right? Any of them. But that all brings itself together to make the perfect storm of why we are so low down over the last 3 years, right? Over the last 3 years, the caliber of signings has got worse. Son and Kane in the last 3 years have both gone when they offered you 50 odd goals between them a season. And we're all sitting here going, why aren't we fifth or sixth? Well, we're not fifth or sixth because one, to be fifth or sixth, you've got to at least have Kudus, Kulu, Maddison all fit. You've got to have these players fit. And two, we've got one of the weakest forward lines in the Premier League.
Yep.
I genuinely look at the Premier League now and I'm thinking, are there many forward lines that I think are worse than Tottenham's?
I think so many are better than ours. I think.
Even in this window, you're thinking to yourself, you know what? You've got to get some bodies in. You've got to get bodies in, right? Frank can't turn water into wine with these forwards. He can't turn water into wine. You've got to give him forwards. And we are sitting here on the 28th of January, Danny, and West Ham have signed 3 forwards, right? Yeah. Leeds United, sorry, not Leeds. Forest have signed Luca from Napoli and now look like they're trying to get Mateta as well. These clubs are making efforts to address concerns.
If Forest get Mateta as well, it's just nuts. That's like insane. It's honestly insane. But I can't understand. The only thing I can see, right? I said this to Ben this morning, that if Tottenham do not bring in any players by the end of this window, by the time this window is shut, at least 2 players, then the only thing I can think of why they haven't done that is because they are so unsure of what they're going to do in the future. And I think that they're probably going to sack Frank at the end of the season. I think they'll wait until it gets either completely too toxic or they'll keep him till the end of the season.
I reckon they'd sack him next week, mate. I reckon they'd sack him when the window's shut, because that's the cowardly thing to do.
Yeah, it's possible. It's very possible, right? But if they don't, I think they're betting on not bringing in players because they don't trust him. And then on top of that, it means they don't trust what Lange and him have planned for the players they wanted to bring in. And I think they're banking on the Pochettino card by the end of the season after the World Cup. That's what I think they're doing, right? Which, again, for me, is complete negligence, because I don't give a fuck who the manager is, right? You should be bringing in players because we've got serious problems, especially in attack. And Ademola Lookman is right there for 35 million pounds or euros, and he will instantly improve us. Instantly improve us. And I don't care who the manager is. Even if we get him for half a season for 30 million pounds, I don't care. Spurs can afford it, right? He could help be the difference of making us a mid-table team this season, or even finishing in a 7th place this season. Because we're not that actually. If you actually look at the table, we're actually closer to 7th place than we are to 18th in relegation.
Hang on, but sorry, can I just say, not this, but I agree with you, Mark. Not this. I think Eureka's missing the point. Again, this is typical person who not listening to what I said. I'm not saying I want to sign the players that West Ham and Forest are signing. My point is that they're going out and trying to address their concerns, right? And my point isn't that I want to sign the same players as them, but you have to credit their clubs going, hang on, we need bodies. We've got issues. We need to go and do something. And as usual, Spurs are not. Spurs are so bad in those forward areas. So bad in those forward areas. And we've done nothing. No one's going to tell me it's difficult to upgrade on these forwards. Now, this looks like it's going to be the team for tonight, right? I don't think too many people could probably disagree because we haven't got anyone fit. Maybe Sarr plays. I don't know. Other than that, that is what we've got. I look at that and I go, this is not a good Tottenham team. Like this does nothing to excite me. The midfield is creatively void. The wingers do nothing for me. Look, this is where we're at, right? This is what we've got for tonight.
Yeah, it's terrible. Like and tonight, like after, I don't know. It's just this team maybe can get themselves up for a European game, and they'll get a close game. They might win 2-1 or something like that. But then they'll come to the next game and you'll see the effort levels have gone completely down, and they don't even try. And the thing is, I'll be honest. In the Burnley game, they were trying. They were really trying to win that game. Like, I hadn't seen that was a in terms of the performance. I thought the performance overall, from what I've seen in the last 2-3 months, was actually pretty good, right? Compared to what the only reason people were dismissing it is because we were 2-1 down and we had to come back to score to draw the game, and we didn't win it. If we had won that game 2-1, I guarantee you the fans would be saying that was actually a good performance. We actually played well. Like, and we've had 2 games in a row where we played well. But because because of that, how it ended, that's why people were saying, "Oh, it was crap. It's crap. Look at Burnley," and they just basically they just go with the wind. As whatever wind direction is going, they go with the wind. And for me, like, with that Burnley team. That Burnley team is the team that went up to Anfield and drew with them. That team is the Burnley team that went and drew with Man United. So people keep saying, "Oh, it's only Burnley," but the thing that people keep misunderstanding in the Premier League is, on their day, any team can beat anyone. Yeah. This is why the Premier League is the most competitive league on the planet, because not in no other league in world football can the bottom of the league team beat someone near the top of the league. Doesn't happen. It's not in the Premier League.
Happened a lot in. I'm not even going to get into that debate. It's happened a lot in La Liga this year. But hey, listen.
Yeah, in La Liga, yeah, I know. But I mean, consistently though, in Savva, over the years, the Premier League has been that league where anyone can beat anyone.
I hear this a lot, but yeah, the top teams don't tend to actually lose to anybody. But yeah, look, I hear you. But look, Lubo, let me bring you in here, right? Can I ask, as a fan, you want Frank out. You've got to that stage now. Can I ask, what is it that you would expect of a new manager coming in with this forward line? What is it that we would expect automatically happens when an interim manager takes over the same forwards that have never been prolific in their careers?
Well, I just think it's not only about the forwards, it's about the team. And I think
you've got to score goals, which is our biggest issue, right?
Sure, no, of course. But they will get, if you brought Redknapp in and Defoe, then I think there'd be a different attitude from the players. I think there'll be an uplift. How much? Who knows? But the uplift we need is just enough to keep us safe this season. For me, that's how I view this season. Because at the moment, 2 wins in 14, we've got a very, very tough 5 games coming up. After that, you've got Palace that could be a 6-pointer. After Palace, you've got Liverpool away, and then you've got Forest at home. That will be another 6-pointer, and that takes you up to March 21, and then there's no league games till Sunderland on April.
Sorry.
Bless you. So for me, I think if these players are not playing for him, then.
But what does that mean? But Lubo, what does that mean? Because as we just showed,
they don't believe in his. They don't believe in his style, his system. They're not on it. You see a difference. You see a difference.
But Lubo, I keep hearing these sound bites from people. They're not on it. They're not playing for him. We're not getting the best out of them. When have they ever shown this? Why would they suddenly show it with an interim manager? Why? When have they ever shown this?
Well, they showed it at City. They showed
no. I don't mean one game. When have they ever shown this over a period of time?
Well, I think up to October, up to the international break, it was much better. We had 14 points from 7 games, and we were sitting 3rd behind Liverpool and Arsenal. So
yeah, and every fan like you absolutely did a hissy fit because he was playing Paulinho and Bentancur, and you all complained you wanted.
Right, but that doesn't matter. But that doesn't matter. Whether I'm against that, I was happy with those 2 away from home, and we were getting the results away from home. But at home, it was just poor, wasn't it? Our results after Burnley were poor.
But what we're saying is, when the manager was doing well, you all complained about it.
Only about that. I was happy with everything else. Only about that. Listen, I don't have to, Sab, you can break it down. You can be happy with someone, but unhappy about certain parts of what he's doing.
I don't doubt that.
It's not all or nothing.
I know it's not. But what I'm asking is, again, this is the thing. When we're saying, again, this is now how many managers now are we saying these players don't believe in this manager? They're down in tools. At what point are we allowed to say that maybe it is these players? Like, are we at any point are going to be allowed to admit this? Does it need to be?
It's everything, though, isn't it? It's everything from 25 years with these owners to a lack of clarity with what's going on at the top now, to poor DOFs, to coaches like Ange and Frank that should never be anywhere near this club when you consider the quality of Conte, Redknapp, Jose, Poch, Birkinshaw, Venables, Pleat, Nicholson. These last two managers are nowhere near the level.
And also these last two managers have had nowhere near the level of players that some of those managers had that you just mentioned, right?
No, that's right. Listen, but it's all part of it. It's all one big mess. It's all one big mess.
Can I ask you a question? If right now Spurs had prime Kane and prime Son, where would we be?
Where would we be?
Danny, you as well. If Spurs right now with this 11 but had Kane up front and Son on the left, where do we think this Tottenham would be?
Probably top six.
Yeah, 6, I think.
Right.
Top six.
Right. So you understand why I've just made that point, right?
Yep.
You understand why I've just made that point. So everyone went, oh my God, Conte. Conte had two of the greatest strikers in the country, if not Europe, up front, scoring goals for him every week.
In Europe, Sav, Son, the only person who was a more composed finisher than Son at the time for a 5-year period was Haaland. That was it. No one else. The goals to shot ratio, Son was the most composed forward in Europe for 5 seasons in a row. Just saying.
So the key thing for me here is we knew that wasn't going to happen forever. We knew that Kane and Son weren't going to be in forever. But a worrying thing for me is now, whichever manager comes in here has got these absolutely dreadful forwards to deal with. That's the worry for me. And I don't think it's going to be as simple as just bringing in an interim and thinking that everything changes overnight. I could be completely wrong. I could be completely wrong. But
I think there'd be an improvement. I genuinely do, providing the right person's brought in. You know, I genuinely think that. Well, personally, I bring in Redknapp and Defoe. That's who I would bring in.
Right. I would like to see Redknapp as well, Lubo, but realistically, that's not going to happen. The guy is like 80 in his 80s, isn't he now?
He's 78 and he's very fit.
Yeah, but would you want any 78-year-old to have to manage Tottenham with how what would we do to his poor heart at the age of 78?
Oh, mate, it'd destroy him.
Listen,
we'd destroy him.
I think he'd enjoy it. I think he'd come in, you know, as an interim, he'd look at it for 4 months and say, do you know what? I'm going to enjoy this because at 78,
do you know what Harry Redknapp will be doing, Lubo? He'll do what he did to Darren Bent, and he'll say, "My grandma can score goals."
Yeah, Sandra could score this.
Yeah. Remember, he was saying Sandra. He'll look at the Bear, Solanke, and he'll be saying the same things. He'll be like, "I've got no one who can score goals in my team."
The problem, Danny.
He's 78. It's
Danny,
not.
The problem is that you don't know no big club. If they're on a run of two wins in 14, they're not just going to sit there and say,
"We're not a big club."
Well, yes, we are a big club.
This is the point. We're not a big club.
No, we're a big club that's severely been underperforming for a long time.
For years.
Yeah, for a long time. Yeah.
And years. You know what? Other than the Antonio Conte 4th place finish, right? Since Poch, we're not a Champions League team anymore. Like we're Champions League this year because we won a trophy. We're not Champions League because we really had the squad or the players to do it.
No,
right?
We've been back to like 5th, 6th, 7th, haven't we? That's been the area that.
Well, yeah, but the problem is, again, if you look at the last 3 years, this is becoming the norm. This is becoming the norm of what we are. If you keep buying lower level players, you are going to become a lower level team, right? You look down the last 3 years at the caliber of players bought into this football club. That is what we've signed. On the main, there's been a few decent ones, but on the main, we have bought very low level caliber footballers. And then we're all wondering, oh my God, why have we been overtaken by Newcastle and Villa? Because Newcastle and Villa aren't buying the shit we're buying. Newcastle and Villa have got a plan.
I just think you're extreme, Sam. The shit. I mean, it's not shit.
I agree. I agree with that.
It's not shit. It's not.
The results prove that.
True. I'm sorry, mate. I'm sorry. I don't go in for language like that. I just think.
Okay, let me change the word because you're being sensitive. Let me change the
way
word.
below the level that we need. I wouldn't say they're shit, but they're way below the level we need.
Okay.
My personal opinion on this, Sam, is that
what Dan Hotspur Hood said. Keep bringing in third world, you become third world. It's
exactly.
True.
We bought players that years gone by. Look, Danny, years gone by, when we were sitting in the top 4, top 5, top 6, year in, year out, right? When you looked at that, we always had some players that differentiated us from those teams in the mid-table or 13th, 14th, 15th. Is that fair to say, right? Mm-hmm. We always had some, whether it was Bale, whether it was Kane, Son, Modric, Van der. We always had those players, right? Now, you look at us. Who in that Spurs team now really differentiates us from the teams that have overtaken us in the last 3 years, points-wise, in terms of Brentford, Fulham, Bournemouth? This is why whenever we play Fulham and people go, we should be battering Fulham. No. Why? Why should we be battering? Who have we bought that you go, oh my God, that is head and shoulders above Fulham? That is head and shoulders.
If we had Harry Kane and Son in our team right now, I'd expect us to win majority of our games because I know that they're good enough to bail us out. But we haven't got players of that level who can bail us out. The drop of level from Harry Kane and Son to what we have right now is it's like Mount Everest. It's like we were like Mount Everest and jumping off from Mount Everest. That's how big the drop is. It's insane.
I think what will happen, but my personal feeling is you've got Lewis's son and daughter who have got involved, and it's like their new shiny toy. And I think they'll realise that they've bitten off far more than they can chew, and I think this will be sold maybe within the year. I think they're getting a shock at what's going on now. They're seeing Spurs drop, and if they don't stop this dive down the table, we'll end up relegated, and the ramifications financially for the club.
What dive down the table? We've been like this for years.
Will be immense. We've gone from third at the beginning of October down to 14th, and 2 wins in 14.
Yeah, but over the years, this is now, again, I know no one wants to look at this fact. And I know you get offended when I say a lot of these signings are shit. But listen, if you keep buying poor players, you are going to end up a poor team. This is not rocket science. We sit every day on YouTube trying to, what's not worked? What's happening? Well, we're not signing good footballers. We're not signing good enough footballers that make a difference. Now, Man U have been an absolute mess for years, right? But in the summer, Man U went out and Mbeumo and Cunha, it's taken them a bit of time to get going. They are difference makers. Mbeumo and Cunha are two players that out of nothing, you go, bang. Spurs haven't gone and bought that.
And you know what, Savva? What's even more crazy is Mbeumo and Cunha are nowhere near the levels of Harry Kane and Son. They're nowhere near it.
No, of course not.
But they're good enough to get them to where they are right now.
I bet you in the summer, Man U go. I bet you, Man U, in the summer, go and buy another couple of that level in defence and midfield, right? Yeah. But what we do is
Adam probably.
We have you look in the last 3 years, right? Now, if you buy one of these in the last 3 years, you go, okay. We've bought all of these in the last 3 years, right? Or if you go back 4 to add Richarlison. In the last 4 years, Spurs in the forward line have bought in Richarlison, Solanke, Odegaard, Tell, Valise, Johnson, Yang, and Mawani on loan, right? Kudus is the only one you would say good, solid signing, right? That's the level you buy, Danny. This is what we become. This is not rocket science. We've let our midfield options, right? For the last 3 years, our midfield options have been Bentancur, Basuma, Gray, Bergval, Sarr. Before that, a mixture of Højbjergs and Ndombele's. Again, if you buy like that, this is what you become. This is what you become if you buy these players year in, year out. Now look at two clubs, and I use these two because they're not the big clubs. Newcastle and Villa in the last 3 or 4 years have done the complete opposite to that, Danny. They've done the complete opposite. They've gone and bought really good, solid players. Not world beaters, not the world's best, but they've gone and bought solid players that get into most top 6, 7, 8 Premier League teams. And they've built teams and a squad. And that is why Newcastle and Villa every year now are up there in and around doing their thing while we are going like this. This isn't rocket science. They don't buy Archie Grays. They don't buy Tells, Odebars, Richarlisons. They don't buy these players. They are not buying Kota Takais, right? They're not buying these footballers. They went out. They needed a number 1, Aston Villa. We went and got Vicario. They go and get World Cup winner Emi Martinez, right? Levels, right? They want solid left backs. They go and buy Digne as the number 1 and Maatsen to be behind him, who is now slowly but surely taking Digne's place in the team, right? They want centre-backs. They go and buy 4 solid, not amazing, not remarkable, solid centre-backs. Konsa, Power Torre, these guys they get the job done, no fuss. Centre mids, you look at it, no messing about. Couple of players got injured. We'll go get Doug Luiz back. We've got Kamara, Anana, McGinn, Tielemans. You look at it now. We need another forward. I'll tell you what, we'll go and get a seasoned pro in Tammy Abraham. Good squad option. Again, not a world beater. That's how they build their squads. We build our squads with all these 18, 19-year-old, 20-year-olds who are weak, have nothing about them. We all pretend they're going to be amazing in a few years. And then fans like me, oh, you're harsh on youngsters. No, but buy 1 or 2 and build a squad. Stop buying kids every bloody win. Stop buying children. And what did we do this window? Who's the only signing this window that was proactive? Sosa. The only proactive signing is a 19-year-old kid from Brazil. We're a mess. And yet people going, Cole, we shouldn't be this low in the table. Yeah. Shouldn't we?
I don't understand. I don't understand the
long rant.
Sorry, I don't understand how Spurs fans they don't want to look at what's really going on. They just want to see what they believe Spurs are, but not what the truth is. And I get it, because some fans, Spurs is everything to them, right? It's their whole life, right? That's their livelihood. But you have to come to the point where in life you've got to understand and accept what the reality is. And the reality is right now is that this club has been regressing for the last 5-6 years, right? In terms of quality, in terms of the way it's been run, in terms of performances, everything. And like, if you take out that Europa League win last season, look how bad it would have been this season. It would have been even worse, because we haven't got that Europa League trophy to show anything for it. And we have to be honest as well. That Europa League trophy was probably one of the easiest and worst finals I've ever seen, but also one of the easiest runs to that final I've ever seen. And also the first time, let's be honest, no Champions League teams fell into that competition. So it was a lot easier from that perspective. We've got to remember that as well.
Sorry for the long rant, but I just feel like this isn't rocket science. I feel like we sit and debate every year while other clubs just put a plan in place, right? And we're going to do the same thing, because all the brunt, by the way, all of the brunt now has gone from Daniel Levy. They haven't got Levy to blame anymore. So all the brunt is going on to Thomas Frank. Whereas before, people used to feel sorry for managers. All the brunt has gone on to Frank. That's fine. You can sack him. But I'm under, Chris, I'll bring it. I'm under no illusion that a new manager coming in right now, I feel like we think everything's going to change overnight. This has been a mess for years. This is not a quick fix, is it, Chris? Or is it?
No. Sorry, just plugging my phone in.
No, right. Sorry,
that's why I was uncomfortably close to the camera. No, well, I agree with that. But I just wanted really to join to make 2 points. First of all, from a stream I was on the other day where someone was basically saying we've got to make a change because look at all these examples of teams that make a change and get better. I think that's madness because there's plenty of examples of that doesn't work. So I'm not against making a change, but there's got to be a concrete, this is what we're going to change to evaluate whether it's worth it or not.
Hang on. Chris, let's look at this. Hang on, Chris, let's look at this then. Let me bring this up. Okay. So let's see who's made a change this year in the Premier League and got better, right? Let's have a look at it. Wolves made a change. They're still rock bottom. West Ham made a change. They're in the bottom 3, 5 points off safety. Nottingham Forest made a change. They're in a relegation battle.
Yeah.
So who has made a change? Are we talking about Man United for 2 games? Is that what we're...
Forest made a change and got a lot worse and then had to make another change, right? So...
yeah. That's true.
And it's happened here before. Like my point is you can't just sack him without a plan. Right.
Yeah.
So,
agreed.
Basically we did that with Conte, right? We ended up with Stellini. That didn't go particularly well. And there's 1,000,001 other examples we can pick out where just sacking somebody does not mean that we're going to suddenly play better. But specifically on that, I just wanted to address the, it's not just Lubo who says this, but I've heard it a lot about Harry Redknapp. Like, I love Harry Redknapp and I think we probably do. Yeah. But let's be realistic. These are a bunch of lads in their mid-20s, mostly foreign, who probably don't really know particularly who he is. Yeah. And I just think where I work in IT, if I was 20 years younger and 25 and we were struggling and somebody said to me, right, we're going to bring this nearly 8-year-old bloke in. He hasn't worked for 10 years. He was a failure in his last job. But when he was here 15, 20 years ago, he was great. I would just go, what? You expect me to suddenly respect this guy? Look, I think we should all respect Redknapp, but I'm saying live in the shoes of someone who's 25 from a different country, will know very little about Redknapp. They're not going to identify with a guy in their late 70s and suddenly go, oh my God, we're going to suddenly try much harder and play much better because this guy has come in who they don't really know and hasn't been a success in football for 15, 20 years.
But
that's just
Chris,
the reality of it. I think it's a madness.
Can I ask you a question? Isn't it more concerning that all the talk now on the 28th is which interim manager is going to change it, rather than actually using this transfer window to bring in some better players to change it? Isn't that a concern that like this is the time where you could go, right, here's 2 or 3 players. God, this is really going to help us. This is going to give us a spark. Instead, we're talking about 78-year-olds coming in. And by the way, Redknapp's my favourite manager of the Premier League era of Spurs. Loved him. I do not want any 78-year-old to have to deal with this fan base and this toxic club. I really don't.
And also, it really risks tarnishing our own view of Redknapp, right? It's just an emotional thing. I think reappointing Poch is the same vibe, but at least he's still relevant in modern football. So it's a little bit more of a nuanced argument. But to your point just there, Savva, I basically would summarize where we are right now. Why I'm not completely frank out, I'm very much frank, I don't care, is because like if you can wave a magic wand right now and change one thing, I know football doesn't work like this, but if you just had a choice, do you want to keep the players and change the manager, or do you want to keep the manager and change the players? If we could only do one thing, surely we're more likely to be successful with a bunch of better players than we are keeping the players who we currently got. So for me, the greater ill, there's lots of ills. There's loads of problems. And I'm not saying Frank isn't a problem, but I think the biggest problem is the squad that we've put together over the last 3 or 4 years. And on that, the fans in the stand, the way they treat Thomas Frank, I get it. Where's all the anger for Lang and Paratici who put this squad together? Don't chant about them, do we? See, my dog's even angry about it, barking about it. He's not happy.
I think Luke's got it spot on. I mean, Lubo, isn't this right? I mean, Luke, big up to Luke, spotlight on Spurs. I think this is absolutely spot on. You want Frank to stay, fine, but we need better players. You want Frank gone, fine, but we need better players. Either way, we need better players. And the problem is we've got a manager that's had 6 months with one window. I don't even count this window. They've not done anything for him. We've had a manager that's had 6 months with one window, 14 injuries, and we're going, I just think a new manager will get more out of these players that have failed for years. Like, we need new players, don't we, Lubo? Like a whole new squad.
But you're not going to get a new squad now, are you? And you could end up relegated. So what do? Let's look at solutions and not the whole general position, because the whole general position is going to take years to resolve.
Okay, so the solutions, buy players in January.
What are we going to do now to stop this descent down the league and into the relegation zone? That's the question. That's the question we should be discussing. We know about the players. We know about the past. What are we going to do now from today to sort this out?
Hang on, but Lubo, but isn't that the point, Lubo, that we're in a transfer window? When you're saying what are we going to do as a solution, a transfer window is a time where you get a solution. This is where we should have been buying players no matter what the manager name. It doesn't matter if this manager's name is Dale Winton, right? No, we need new players.
I listened to the show you told me to listen to with Paul O'Keefe the other night with Connor and Billy. And he was saying that on the left wing, all the players they went for were all unavailable. So that's bad
scouting then, isn't it?
That shows you how bad they are, how bad Lang and Rob McKenzie are. This is what we've got. This is what we've got at our club.
Okay.
So they should have known.
So you want to trust those people to pick the right interim manager?
They've had 4 months, but the problem you've got 2 problems there, Sav. We're on the 28th. Are we going to get anybody in the next 5 days? Who knows? It's probably going to be a panic buy right at the death. If they lose, which I fully expect on Sunday, they'll probably drop another place, and all of a sudden it's like shit. We've got 1 day now. You know, it'll be a big panic to bring someone else in on Monday before the deadline, because they cannot afford for Spurs to be relegated.
Sure, but let me play devil's advocate. I'm just devil's advocate before people in the chat go mad. All of this notion that you're saying is based on that Frank goes and we immediately pick up.
Right? There's no guarantee. That's why it's got to be the right people to come in.
Okay, but even if it is the right people, look at the run of games we've got, and we still haven't brought in the players we need. So an immediate new manager could come in. It could be the right. You could bring in Pep Guardiola, right? If Pep Guardiola managed Spurs for the next 5 games, how many points do you think Pep Guardiola's getting?
He'd probably do better than Frank.
Yeah. Okay. But look,
I would expect Pep to do better than Frank. I think you agree with that.
Yeah, but sure. But Pep still wouldn't have the goal scorers. Pep still won't have the creative players in the team. Pep can't turn them overnight. And this is my worry about any interim that comes in. You can't turn these players overnight to be better than they are.
No, but if you start turning the losses into draws, that's something. That's a start. That's where you start. Because I think we've lost 8 out of the last 16. That's where you start. Those, if you'd have drawn, say, 5 or 6 of those 8s, then you'd be looking at where will we be in the table then? Okay,
so can I ask you a question then? So as somebody that's advocating that, if a new manager comes in and gets us relegated, at that point, are you going to say that manager's shit, like Frank, or are you going to turn around and say, well, yeah, these players aren't good enough and no one could get anything out?
I'd let you know after I've seen all the matches between now and then. Couldn't tell you.
No, but you can. No, you can. No, you can. No, see, you can. If a new manager comes in now, right? Yeah. And at the moment, let's say right now, so let's say tonight, Spurs get battered 5-0, hypothetically, right? And they go, cool, he's got to go. Frank gets sacked, and we've got, 15 games to go this season. Is that right? Hang on.
You're pressing this narrative that...
Hang on, I haven't. Can I finish it, right?
Go on.
As of now, we are 8 points above the relegation zone. If a new manager came in and we got relegated, surely at that stage we can turn around and go, yeah, these players don't play or aren't good enough for anyone. Couldn't we? I'm just asking. Right.
Probably.
So when you say I'm pushing a narrative, I'm asking hypotheticals because everyone's doing what they usually do. They've seen Michael Carrick have 2 good games as Man U manager and gone, see what happens when you change your manager. Well, sure, but Man U have got better players. That hasn't happened at West Ham or Wolves or Forest, has it? Those clubs have got massive squad issues like we have, and nothing's changed for them. So what if a new manager comes in and nothing changes?
Also, Sav, the other thing as well is that I think football fans are very fickle because they clearly forget or have forgotten what happened last season under Ange in the Premier League, right? The amount of times I saw the similar sort of things happening where we were misplacing passes, defenders making errors, the players not in the right positioning, and just all over the place, like schoolboy errors, right? But why is it the fans don't want to remember what happened last season? Because we're seeing a lot of the same repetitions of bad errors and bad passing and not passing 5 yards. It was happening under Ange, but people just want to forget that. Like it was literally happening. That's why we lost like 22 games in the league last season. So I don't know where it's come from that people forgotten that didn't happen last season. It was. It's the same shit. It's happened under. This is why,
because it might be the players.
Danny. Let me ask
but
you
this is why.
Danny,
Lubo, before you do, this is why I believe it's the players, because I've seen it under 2 different style managers and 2 different managers over the last 2.5 years, right? Under Ange and Frank, it's the same. It's just one's had more defensive injuries and one had more attacking injuries. It's literally the same. It's really not that hard to understand.
Right. Okay. You're the owner. This is your company.
Yeah.
You are at risk of losing an absolute fortune. A fortune. Bear in mind the club's still 700-800 million in debt.
Yeah.
So if they go out of the Premiership, there are a lot of very hard decisions to make in terms of the financial running of that club.
Right.
You're looking at it now. You're looking at it now as a boss, as an owner. You've won 2 out of 14. If that becomes 2 in 15, 2 in 16, 2 in 17, 2 in 18.
Yep.
What are you going to do? Are you going to sit there and say, are you going to sit there and say, well, it's the players? Or are you going to say, I'm going to get another coach in and I'm going to see if he can actually stop the rot? What do? Do you just sit back and do nothing?
Buy some players,
Lubo.
Hang on, Danny. If you're the owner, see, Lubo, in your theory, and I like these hypotheticals we all do, right? In your theory, the owners care. If the owners cared, in your theory, why are they not buying players in this January window to show they care and that they don't want to get relegated? By the way, I don't think we are getting
They put their trust in the wrong people, haven't they?
Yeah, but Lubo, there's a thing of putting the trust in the wrong people, but there's also a thing of, regardless of the manager, is the most important thing is the level, the quality of the squad. They literally outlined at the beginning of the season that they wanted, and recently Vinay had said that they want to improve the quality. But where have they done that this window? They have not. So then what that tells me is that the owners of this business are lying to the fans, right? And they've got some other hidden ulterior motive of what they want to do with this club behind the scenes, right? Because you can't go and say we want to add quality and then you go and buy Sousa, right? It doesn't work like that. That's not how you should know that as well, Lubo. That's not how business works. You don't go to.
They didn't even need him. Didn't even need him. They've got a left back. They've got a left back in the academy who's more than
obviously not bought for now, isn't it? So
pointless.
Yeah, and that again, isn't it, Chris? It's, for me, that's like negligence of the highest order. Because
but that's what we've done in the transfer window, right? Let's be fair. I love Conor Gallagher, but let's be fair. If Rodrigo Bentancur hadn't have got a season-ending injury, we all know that we wouldn't have gone and been proactive and bought Conor Gallagher, right? But my point is this, Lubo, who knows who's right or wrong? And to be fair, I don't think it matters, right? You're right. Maybe, hang on. Maybe Spurs put in an interim right now and we go, cool, we've won 5 out of the next 7 games and everything's hunky-dory. But what if you bring in an interim and the results do not change? Because, again, we've got no goals in this team. Whoever comes in is coming into no goals in this team. There's no assists. There's no goals. What if that manager comes in, nothing changes? What do? We've sacked a manager with no plan. Like, there's no plan, Lubo. What's the plan? If it's not Redknapp, I'm hearing names of people that no one would have wanted if they weren't connected to Spurs. Right? Yeah. I'm hearing, we should get Robbie Keane. If any other year I'd ever said to anyone, should we go and get the manager of Ferencvaros? Right? People would go, what? No.
Front door will be one sec.
Because it's Robbie Keane, people are going...
This idea, mate, this idea of people knowing the club is just a load of old nonsense. It doesn't mean anything. Like, did Ferguson know the club when he went to United? Did Wenger know the club when he went to Arsenal, or Pep when he went to City?
When Hoddle, when he was the manager of Tottenham.
He did know the club, exactly.
He knew the club more than most people.
Yeah, Ryan Mason. Like,
yeah.
It's just silliness. But can I touch on the relegation thing quickly? Because I think this is getting... I'm not saying there's 0 risk, because of course there is. But I think this is like hyperbole by fans here. Because, I mean, Lubo's just said about, the last 14 games, we've got 11 points. We get 11 points in the next 14 games. We're on 39. We ain't going down. Literally, we need like 2 wins and a draw from 15 games.
Yep.
I'm not saying it's impossible that we don't get that, but you actually look at our fixtures, some of our home matches. And it's not good. I'm not trying to paint a rosy picture.
No, of course.
I'm just trying to have a bit of perspective about the realism of us going down here is very unlikely.
Yeah.
Agree.
I think, as I said in the show earlier, Chris, I think what people have got to realise here is for us to be dragged into a relegations battle, like properly, people are going, oh my God, we're in one. Well, we're not. We're not until we are, right? Is West Ham have to win 3 games more than whatever we do. So as I said, if Spurs can win 3 games between now and the end of the season, 3 out of 15, West Ham have to win 6. So West Ham have to win more than a third of their games. Now, if West Ham do that, all right, that means we need to win 4 of our 15 games. But as at the moment, we're not in a relegation battle. I don't think we're going down. Right? I don't think we're going down at all. But the problem is when we're going, if you're an owner and you need to stop relegation, well, hang on, what about the fucking transfer window? Isn't this when you find solutions? If this is where you find solutions. So I'm more than happy, Chris, you and I have had this chat privately, right? I am more than happy for Tottenham Hotspur to sack Frank and bring in someone else. I just personally don't think it's going to have that immediate impact that other people really think it's going to have. Because as Danny said, these players failed magnificently in the league under Ange, right? These players are now failing magnificently in the league under Thomas Frank. They failed magnificently under Stellini and Mason. Obviously, I know there's going to be a changeover of some players. But we're now going to do it again where we think, well, this next guy that comes in, he'll be able to get an uplift out of these players that have not performed for years. And I just don't know where this is. No one can show me evidence that these guys have performed.
No. I don't see the point, really, for the rest of the season. I just don't see the point. What are we trying to achieve?
I agree.
And by the way, that you actually were spot on with what you just said about people are just going, well, if West Ham do this, West Ham do that. But fine. So West Ham go above us. We still need to be worse than Palace, Leeds and Forest as well. All of them.
Sure. I'm just using West Ham because they're the team at the moment.
I know, exactly. But I'm just trying to add that the argument doesn't really stack up.
Since Sean Dyche joined, he's got 20 points. Frank's got 11.
Great.
Okay, so Forest are on an upward. They're on an upward curve.
The team in 18.
We're on a downward curve at the moment. So,
if we carry on our current form, we easily stay up. You keep talking about 14 games, we've got 11 points. We get another 11 points, we're not even worried about it.
You know what's more funny is that
we have to get a lot worse. We have to get worse than we are now.
But do you know what's more funny is that fans, they want to look. It's like in life, right? People love to focus on the negative rather than anything positive, right? That's human nature. That's how the mind works. You always focus on what the worst case scenario, right? If you actually look at the table, we are closer to 7th place than we are to relegation. We are closer.
It's an emotional argument, Danny.
Yeah,
people get.
We're closer to 7th place than we are to relegation. And
it's taken, by the way, there's an 8-point gap, right? It's taken 9 matches for the team in 18th to win 8 points, to be 8 points. So let me put that a different way. 9 games ago, that the team in 18th was on 12. So you can expect that it will take to 32 games for the team in 18th to get to 28 points, more than likely.
It's ridiculous.
So we need 2 or 3. You look at our fixtures. I don't think any of us are saying that we're good. I think we all accept that we are crap.
Yeah.
You look at our fixtures. We would need to get 5 or 6 points out of 45 to be in trouble. Realistically, if we get 7 or 8 points out of 45, we're very likely staying up. It's an emotional argument. It's not really. I'm not saying it can't become reality. It could, but it's very
these
unlikely.
players could get relegated, and we still wouldn't put any blame on the players. Like that. That's where most of the fan base are. They still like. I see every week how good Romero and Van der Ven are at the back. Do you see them against Burnley? They looked absolutely shocking at the back. But again, they take no accountability because they scored the goals. Like this for me, as I said, year on year,
because they're the ones who helped make the mistakes, but yet they're the ones that helped score the goals. So if they didn't make the mistakes in the first place, they wouldn't need to score the goals.
Look, I would say this, right? Spurs for me are a very average football team. Right, we are a very, very, very average football team that has had no plan for many years. Pochettino, for 3 to 4 seasons, had a very good 11 that papered over how bad Spurs have actually been for decades. Right? Let's be brutally honest. Even in the Poch era, there was no plan, was there? He had a good team, but there was no plan. There was nothing built. We didn't look at that and go, we're going to kick on. But Tottenham, as I've said, until they implement a plan, I don't care. Sack Frank, couldn't give a shit. Sack him. But it's the amount of people that are putting all the blame on the bloke that's been here for 6 months rather than the players that have been here for years, the owners that have been here for years, the director of football that's been here for years. But it's Frank. They're not playing for him. Well, if they're not playing for him, why aren't we getting battered every game? If they're not playing for him,
if they're not playing for him, I think it's got. I think we would all accept, right? If we'd have lost to Dortmund, I think he was gone.
Sure,
so if you're a bunch of players and you don't respect him, you would think, hold on, all we have to do is lose 1 match here, and he is gone. And yet we put in probably our best performance of the season. So I don't think it stacks up as an argument. They're not, and we also played pretty well at Burnley. I know we didn't get the result.
That's what I said, Chris. That's what I said. We played well. By
the way, at Dortmund as well, most of them went off giving him a high five and embracing him, which I don't think you do with the guy you don't respect, right?
Exactly.
So I don't think that argument stacks.
They were hugging him at full time. They were like, everyone was so happy. It looked like they were all united again. So and I want to read this. Can I read something out? Right. This is from I don't know if you guys have seen it, but Alan Sugar, he made a comment on the Tottenham boss when he was asked a question about Thomas Frank, and he goes, "I have no comment really about the poor sod. I mean, I think the whole bloody team should be fired. They're useless, bloody useless, and they're getting close to relegation zone." And it'd be interesting to see what the new management ownership is going to do. Because as you know, Daniel Levy has left. So it's now in the hands of Joe Lewis, who's a multi-billionaire, and he needs to start throwing some real money at it to get the top players. And if he throws more money at it, they'll do well, I guess. Seems to be the only way that all these clubs do is buy players for 100 million each or something like this. Isn't that quite funny that even someone like him could see that this team is absolutely crap, and owners need to pump money into it.
Danny, this is 2 years in a row we're flirting down with the bottom, but we still seem to refuse to believe how bad we are.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know what needs to wait. And by the way, when people listen, injuries, fine. But if your squad can't cope, then you are in a bad position, right?
Yep.
If your squad is taking this much of a hammering and the owners don't care enough to go and buy new players, then we kind of deserve to be where we are, which is a very average football team right now.
Yeah. Agree.
Sorry, Lubo.
Can I ask Lubo? Can I ask Lubo? Why do you think? And this maybe whoever's in the chat or whoever's listening, why do you think that we should be doing better than what we are currently doing?
Because I think we've given away a lot of goals. You know, you can't turn around and say there have been many worldies.
No.
You know, there haven't been Cunha type goals from Sunday against us. The majority of goals we've given away have been self-inflicted, to be honest. Yeah. And these players should be better than the goals they're giving away. Romero should, you know, for me,
based on Again,
these are professional Premier League footballers, and Romero shouldn't be letting the ball go under his foot.
Based on this.
Well, listen, you throw stat. I'm talking about what I see, Sav. And last year,
isn't this what you see?
No, but we've had 2 years, Sav, with before this season, we've had 2 years with no system. No system. We've had kamikaze tactics that have been absolutely ridiculous. That none of those other clubs have had. So, you know, there's always context, and I think that with a much better manager, those results would have been better over the last 2 years. Ange lost 34 league games out of 76.
Sure,
in fact, out of 66 after the first 10.
Sure, but Lubo, at what point though? It's all okay to say with a better manager, I think we'll do this. But at what point do we all have to wake up a little bit and go, but this is so many mistakes over the years.
People can see that, Sam. I don't know that there's no argument about that. People are seeing that. The fan base can see it.
I don't think they can, Lubo, because
they choose not to. Lubo.
They choose not to.
Go and talk to the people on Matchday, guys. Go and talk to them on Matchday. Completely different to the bits and pieces you see on social media.
I'm sorry. I was at the stadium the other week talking to many people, and fans don't get. I don't get. Fans don't get it. Look how you're talking, right? Look at all the mistakes. Which manager comes in and stops? Romero's been making mistakes for 4 years in a Spurs shirt under 4 different managers. What manager is going to stop him making mistakes? What manager is going to stop Pedro Porro, who's played under the same managers as Romero, making mistakes? Yep. They made mistakes under Conte. They made mistakes.
A good manager, a better manager would see that Porro's not a right back.
Or like Conte, the guy who signed him.
Correct. Well, Danny, Conte bought him as a wing back.
But wherever he plays, if he plays right back or right wing back, he's still positionally poor and makes mistakes, right? We cannot seem to accept, right, that whichever manager a lot of these players have played for, the mistakes are in there plentiful.
Yeah.
Right? But at no stage can we seem to turn around and say these players aren't as good as we think. Right?
Do you know why, Savva? Because they don't want to believe it, because they're Tottenham Hotspur players.
But Danny, you cannot have 3 years worth of data that we've got with 3 or 4 different managers, lots of different players, and then say something is not fundamentally wrong at this football club, right? Yeah. All of this, you'd expect these mistakes wouldn't be there. I expect the mistakes because the players aren't as good as you think they are. Yeah. I expect mistakes from these footballers. I've watched years of mistakes from Romero, from Porro, from Bentancur, from Adogi, from Vicario. These players aren't as good as you think.
Yep.
But we think if Pep Guardiola comes in, suddenly Romero doesn't make a mistake. Porro's suddenly brilliant. Vicario's a better key.
No, Sav, let me just come in on here.
Go on.
Feel the right side. Give your head a bloody wobble, you idiot. I'm not an emotional cripple when it comes to sport. I'm going to call this geezer out. Geezer's a fucking idiot. Sorry. He's an idiot. I won't be called that. I won't be called that. I've got to tell you,
I'll deal with it.
well aware of what I'm well aware, and I've been hammering away for years that the owners have been the problem at the club.
I'll deal with it.
Players aren't good enough. I've said the players have regressed since Pochettino.
Come on, Lou, but you
I really don't know what you're talking about. What I'm saying is that players like Romero should not be letting the ball under their feet.
But he's done it for 4 years.
He's a World Cup winner with Argentina, and he is a top pro, and that is a 10-year-old error.
Make one point though, Lubo. When you're saying speak to the match going fans, I've been to a few away games recently, and I was shocked at the vitriol for Thomas Frank and how very clear to me they have one target of blame. That there's no context amongst the away fans for actually we're shit. Maybe he's not great. I've never seen the away fans like it ever for any manager. So I've got to disagree. If you speak to the match going fans, I think that they're not applying huge amount of context. They're just Aya is for one guy. Yeah.
But also, by the way, can I just say, when Christian Romero was doing what he was doing now under Conte, I heard the same thing, right? There was an excuse for Romero then. He has now played for Nuno. He has played for Ange, Conte, Frank, Stellini and Mason. I won't really count, right? This guy makes mistakes every time I watch him play. But I'm led to believe because he's a... But Lubo, he does.
Sorry, you've really got it in for Romero. And I've got to tell you,
Don't get emotional over a player.
No,
this is what
just saying. I hear this all the time, and he's one of our better players. And you go after Romero like no other player in the team.
Lubo, stop getting so emotional over a player you don't know, right? Now, again, I'm going to teach you something here because you've gone off into a little rant, right? Yeah. I'm not saying Romero isn't one of our better players, but Romero has always been mistake-ridden. Always been mistake-ridden, right? From his days at Atalanta, he was still, the Italian fans said, he's a bloody good defender, but he's lackadaisical and makes mistakes. We've seen that with him under Conte, Nuno. Now, whenever I critique a player, you go after him. No, I'm just saying what it is. This player is protected through thick and thin, whatever he does, but he's always here and part of the problem. But we're not allowed to say that. Doesn't mean he's not a good defender on his day. But look at him against Burnley. Against Burnley, his playing out from the back was absolutely diabolical. His passing was shocking. He kept losing his man. But because he scored, people go, well, Romero bailed us out. Fine. But maybe, just maybe, he's not as good as what you think he is, right? Maybe. The difference between me and you is I don't get emotional over any of these footballers. I don't attach myself to an individual player and feel that they can't be critiqued, right? Romero, Bentancur, Porro, these guys have been here for years in all of this downturn in our club, but get away without any criticism because every time it's the manager. If the new manager comes in and Romero still does this, what's the excuse for him then?
The manager's fault.
It's the manager again, isn't it? This is the point. Ledley King was a class centre-back, right? I don't remember Ledley making mistake after mistake after mistake, and he played in some shocking teams. Why? Yeah. He's a class act.
But also, he made players better around him when he played as well.
You know, the worst thing about that second goal at the weekend was not that he fell for the dummy so badly that he needed to repay the entrance fee to get back in. It was that when they played around him, he just stood and watched it. He made no attempt at all to get back into position. And
he never does.
To me, couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it.
Didn't he do that, though, last week against Dortmund, right? Last week against Dortmund, you're thinking, right, this is a really important game. First 2 minutes of the game, you're thinking, come on, you've got two young midfielders in front of you and Bergvall and Gray. You're the captain. Keep it calm. First 2 minutes of the game, anyone remember what Romero did? Goes running into midfield, misses the ball because he's dived in. They're through on goal, and Porro had to come and bail him out. And you're like, that's nothing to do with Thomas Frank. That's nothing to do with Ange. That's nothing to do with the manager. That is him. He has that in his game, and we can accept that. But I can't then go, oh my God, he's world class, or he does. This is him. He is mistake.
Tell me about the other 89 minutes.
Yeah, he was very good.
Very good. So you pinpointed one mistake and you brought it up.
No, I'm making the point, Lubo, that these mistakes are in him gamely. But you for some reason don't like it when it's mentioned. Top defenders don't have this every game. And he does this every game. Look against Liverpool, right? Look against Liverpool. We are playing against 10. We're playing with 10 men. We're under no pressure. We've done really well. We're under no pressure. They're not really threatening our goal, right? We've gone, 30 minutes without conceding in 10 men. And then lackadaisical Romero comes out, no one around him, tries a Hollywood pass, gives it away. They're 1-0 up. And you're like, this is what Romero does. That doesn't mean he's a bad player, but he gets away with everything because, again, he's won a World Cup. So has Mustafi. So has Per Mertesacker.
No, but he's not perfect, but he makes less mistakes than a lot of the players in our team, particularly this season.
I think he gets away with it because 1 in every 10 games he has a blinder. I think that's why he gets away with it. Like someone just said in the chat, what about winning the Europa League? Yeah, he was absolutely unreal in the final. And I think we remember that and we don't balance it often enough with how often he's putting in 4s and 5s out of 10s, really. Because he is fantastic. There's no argument. And we want players who are that good. He's just not that good often enough, really. I'm not saying get rid of him like right now. There's a long list of players before we get rid of Romero.
Chris, maybe it was with the quality of defenders that he had playing alongside him between 21 and 23. But I think he was better under those managers, particularly under Conte, than he has.
He had a nightmare year under. He had one good year under Conte, and then a terrible year.
I've got to say, he cleared up so many messes. He put out so many fires because of
Sanchez and people like
Sanchez, Tanganga, Davis. I mean, come on. He was all over the place putting out fires.
But now he's playing alongside Van der Ven. So what's the excuse for all the mistakes now?
But, you brought up Romero about, with Burnley. Look at Van der Ven against Burnley. First goal, who's on the player? 3 of them.
Though. I don't put them on the pedestal that you put them on, though, mate. That's the difference.
I don't put them on a pedestal.
I think Van der Ven's more consistent overall than Romero.
No, but
Van der Ven is far more consistent.
But you look at it, nobody's pulled Van der Ven. He got turned. The guy turned him before the second goal. Him, along with Dan San Romero, he got 3 at the back. And they stood and watched a guy come in at the back post and score the.
I don't think they're as good as many of our fans think they are. This is the problem. What we do is we have people that come out with things like they're the best centre back pairing in the league. Like hell, are they the best centre back pairing in the league? What are we doing here? But we say it, and it comforts us. They are good.
Question, Sav. Do you think with Conte and Jose in charge of this team, we'd be higher up this season?
No, because we don't have goal scorers. They both had Kane and Son.
You don't think we'd be better with them as managing the team?
Did you see the football under Conte?
I think we might be, but I don't think it would be significant. I think you're talking like 3, 4, 5 points or something.
Who's scoring the goals for Conte? Can I just, because Conte's football was transitional, right? Conte's football was transitional. And he had Kulu, Son and Kane transitioning. Right now, if he played the way he did that year, who's doing for him what those 3 did?
We actually have the pace to hit on the break. We just don't have the actual technical ability.
Yeah, or the composure in front of goal.
Right.
I've got to shoot.
I've got to shoot,
but Slav, I've got to shoot. But if you're saying let's just leave it as it is because the players are shit and no other manager will get anything more from them, then fine, let's just leave it. Let's just carry on losing. We're on a downward slide. And let's just get relegated. Who cares?
It's not what I said. That again.
I'm just saying. I'm saying.
It's not what I said.
I'm just saying that if that's the That's what people are thinking. If that's it, if it's a question of, well, this one's no good, that's one no good. We haven't got strikers, so we're not going to score goals, whichever manager comes in.
I think if we don't change it, we'll get relegated is a bit of an emotional play, Lubo.
Absolutely. Chris, we're on a slide. We were 3rd October the 4th. We're now 4th.
And if we carry on with the same form, if we carry on with the same form from October to now, we stay up easily. So
yeah,
no, we don't.
We're going to get a lot worse.
No, we don't.
We do.
Yes, we do. We do. I've done the maths, Lubo.
Chris,
I've done the maths. We'd be on 39 points.
You're being emotional, Lubo, with it.
Chris, I saw a report yesterday that compares the bottom clubs and the points they're getting. Forget Wolves, I'm not talking about them. To last year's bottom 3, and the bottom 3 this year are getting more points than last season. And if this carries on,
but last season was the worst season in Premier League history for the bottom 3's points.
Right, I'm mentioning last season because we finished 17th last season.
But the bottom 3 were miles adrift last season, so it's a silly comparison. There's never been a season like that in Premier League history.
So it's getting back to normal, isn't it?
Yeah, but a normal 35 points is the most any team's been relegated within the last 10 years.
Well, I'll tell you something, we're struggling. We'll struggle to get 35 points if we carry on.
Lubo, you said something I didn't
it's an emotional play.
I never said, Lubo, I tell you what, can someone clip this? Because I feel like I could say the same thing and no one listens. I'm not saying don't change him, but you've got to have a plan to change him, right? It can't just be, oh, we can bring in anybody and we go up the league table, because that's not the case. Whoever comes in is going to need to find a way to get a very blunt forward line scoring goals. And when people say it's not just the forward line, we had 20 odd shots during the week, couldn't score a goal. How many chances in the first half against Sunderland? Couldn't score a goal. If we do not score goals, you're not going to win games. I'm not saying don't change him. Hopefully this is really clear. I'm not saying don't change him. I am saying have the plan to change him. But if it doesn't change when a new manager comes in, right, what will the excuse then be? Right? And by the way, Conte and Jose probably do better. I'm not saying they wouldn't do better, but I agree with Chris. I don't think it would be amazing. You got to remember, Conte and Jose had Kane, Son, Kulu, and Bale, right? Right? They had Kane, Son, Kulu, and Bale. Right now, we are looking at Dominic Solanke, Odegaard, Mawani's, Tells, right? This is a huge, huge difference. But again, we're doing that thing, aren't we? We're going back to Conte, back to Jose, back to... We need to deal with the issue we're in right now. Sure. With the players we've got right now, we need to deal with this. Not what would Conte do? Because Conte, by the way, at Napoli is doing what Conte always does, by the way. Absolutely phenomenal first season, dropping away second. Just saying. Right? So, yes, Lubo, I'm not saying don't sack him. I've been really clear. But there's got to be a plan. And it can't be, oh, well, look what Michael Carrick's done at Man United. If Spurs had signed Michael Carrick, all of you would have gone, he's not a winner. He got sacked from Middlesbrough mid-table. So hindsight is a really wonderful thing. It's a really, really wonderful thing.
Yeah, I'd like to sort of come in there and kind of say hindsight is one thing. But another thing we were saying is if we continue on this, like how we're continuing now, our fixtures coming up are a lot worse than what we've just had. So I don't think we'll pick up as many points as we have previously as we're going to. I can't see us picking up a single point out of the next 5 or 6 games. Football's a difficult game, and you never know, like we'll get a draw at City or whatever. You can never predict the future. So I kind of agree with Lubo in the respect of, obviously, one of the replies to Lubo was, well, what happens if we change and we're in exactly the same position? Well, then we're in exactly the same position if we keep him anyway. So what is the loss there? If we bring in a new guy, for example, and by the way, this isn't me saying I think he should be sacked or we should keep him, but if we bring in a new guy and he does have a new manager bounce and we do get 4 or 5 wins from now to the end of the season, we stay up. So couldn't our plan be stay up or Or I think our plan, whether I'm wrong or right, I think our plan is to stay up and get Pochettino. That's what I think our plan is. So couldn't our interim be right? Come in. Your target is to get 4 or 5 wins. I don't care how we do it. Even if you bring in Sam Allardyce and it's like right back 5, nick a draw, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
The common reply is, well, what happens if it doesn't work? Well, at the moment, it's not working, and we've got a lot tougher fixtures ahead than we have just gone.
For 4, though, we've got 15 games to play. We don't play those 4 teams on repeat for the rest of the season.
Okay, so I'm glad you said that, because I mean, I'm not saying I'm right or wrong here. I think if we, for example, are neck and neck with West Ham after the next 5 or 6 games, I don't think that these players now, regardless of the manager, have enough fight in them to fight a relegation battle. So I think that if you brought in a new manager, you might get a new manager bounce. If we lose next 5 or 6 games and we're kind of neck and neck, I don't think these players have it in them to then get us out of a relegation scrap. So I'm not saying that anyone's wrong or right. My concern is if we do lose these next few games, even if you change a manager, you're asking players to sort of dig in now and become counted. And at that moment, we've always lost or we've let the victory go.
Look at the bigger picture of what you said, James. So if these players are not good enough for a relegation scrap, doesn't that go to the point then that these players aren't good enough and Tottenham shouldn't actually be doing any better than they are?
Yeah, absolutely. But I don't think, and again, I'm not sticking up for Lubo. I'll send you my bank details, mate. I'm not sticking up for Lubo again here, but Lubo's never said that the players are good enough or he doesn't want new players. So I think that we're all kind of on the right. We're all saying the right thing. It's just in different circumstances. If we sack Frank, is it going to make us any better? Hopefully we get a new manager bounce. That's the only thing I can say.
But James, I didn't disagree with that. All I did was play devil's advocate, right? Yeah. All I did was, there is 2 sides to the new to a new manager. One is that you go like that. The other is that maybe the fragile players we've seen, like the Romeros and the Porros, who have down tools for how many managers now? What if the new manager comes in, James, and these guys with their fragile mentality go, oh, sod this, another manager? Yeah. What if it gets worse, James?
Yeah.
What if it gets worse? Right now,
how does it get worse? How does it get worse? Because our next 6 games, how many games do you predict us to win?
But James, we're not in a relegation battle right now. If we get relegated, it would have got much worse. We're not in a relegation battle now. I know, but relegation.
No, but isn't that? I agree. We're not in a relegation right now. No, but our next 6-7 games coming up, mate, I can't see us winning any.
And the difference between me and you, James, is, sorry, no, I agree with you, but the difference is I don't see us winning any of those with a new manager either.
I'm not saying that I do either. I'm not saying I do either. This is where I was kind of like sitting on the fence a little bit. I'm not saying, right, you roll the dice and you bring in Javi for the last of the season. I don't know. I'm just picking that because it's obviously a hot topic. Is it possible that he can get us 4 or 5 wins? I don't know. Are the players going to raise to him? I don't know. But what I do know is I don't know where our next points are coming from. So is it worth rolling the dice? I don't know.
You need a viable option, though, because you can say, how can it get worse? But what happened when we put Stellini in charge? What happened when they sacked Arteta and put Lundberg in charge? What happened when Frank Lampard went back to Chelsea? It can get worse. There's no question about it. So change for change's sake is not a good argument, in my opinion.
I agree.
No, it can get worse, of course. But what we're saying is, we was talking about the last 6 or 7 games and the amount of points we've picked up. Like, look at the next 6 or 7 games. And then after that, my only concern, and I know I've just said this, but my only concern is if these players get into a relegation scrap, because I don't think we're there yet, but if they do, are these players gonna be right? We need to work in here. We need to dig in for Frank. I've already seen signs of Van der Ven, Spence, all kind of turning on the coach. So if we get even further down, have they got the mentality to be held accountable for? I don't think they have. I think straight away.
have they
Romero are
No,
scoring.
but we don't know. But we can only go. I mean, throwing your shirt on the floor, not shaking your hand, storming past.
played the man that
every
plays.
manager. But
Yeah.
isn't the point though? This is what makes me laugh about this whole conversation. And again, devil's advocate is these players have done this for how many managers? There's so many players that have done this for so many managers, but we think another manager coming in suddenly gets the best out of them and they're going to perform. I think what will happen, James, and we've got to be really careful when we do this. First of all, if you bring in a new manager now with the really tough games we've got, does it work? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, right? Secondly, Chris is absolutely bang on. You've got to have a viable option. It's got to be somebody that comes in and we go, right, this guy's got something about him, right? Third of all that is we aren't in a relegation battle at the moment. What anyone says, we're 8 points off it, right? We're 8 points off it right now. Now, if in 4 games' time, West Ham have won 3 games and we've not won a game and we're level on points, whatever, now we're in a relegation battle. But you know what? What's more important for me that we've missed in all of this, we've missed that, again, all of this is on the manager and we've done nothing in the transfer window to try and alleviate relegation fears. This is the thing for me. Look at the whole fan base now is we spent a whole 2 hours arguing about the manager rather than, hello, transfer window. Could we buy some forwards? Could we buy some goals? They've pulled the wool over our eyes. Again, ENIC are brilliant at this. ENIC are brilliant at this.
Lubo's favourites.
Do you know what? By the way, this is worse than under Levy. Just gonna put that.
Yeah,
out.
it is. It actually is.
This club is worse than under Levy right now.
Early days. There's an element that Levy maybe cared a little bit more than what these current crop do, but I mean, at least he had a little bit of care compared to what we're seeing right now. Right now, it's like complete negligence. I think Levy would have pulled a trigger on getting at least one other player if he saw how bad this is right now with what's going on. But right now, we're just not even attempting to go and get anyone.
Like, so for me, I don't disagree. It's got worse since Levy's left. I don't necessarily think it's Levy was good either. I just think naturally Vinay's come in pretending to know what he's talking about, hide every man under the sun to do certain jobs. But yet there's not one footballing guy coming to take control and have a plan. Like what Savva was saying, in fairness, there's no one coming and said, right, the plan is this season. If we be ultra negative from now on, someone comes in and says, right, the plan is to stay up. And then in the summer, the plan is Pochettino will have Maddison back who suits his system, blah, 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 blah. And the argument for me where I think they are getting away with it is people are saying, but why would he buy players for a manager? We don't know if he's going to be here. Well, we've got sort of 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years of Pochettino as coach to see what kind of players he likes. So if that is the answer that we're going to go down that route, and I hope that the club should know that, to say, right, okay, Conor Gallagher, yeah, perfect. Now we need a goal-scoring left winger, for example. I don't rate him as high as everybody else, but Lookman could come in and do that role, for example. So you've got that guy coming in. Just because Frank's in charge, if the ultimate goal is to get rid and get Poch in, there's no reason why you can't be bringing better players in, and Frank should be getting more out of better players than he is out of Odegaard, and I don't doubt that he wouldn't either. So,
by the way,
the whole thing is the plan of...
Can we look at something, right? And I think this is really key. We're all talking about our fixtures coming up. Has anyone seen West Ham's next 5 Premier League games?
I can tell you what.
Hang on. I've got it up. Yeah, I'll bring it up. Right, they've got Chelsea away.
Yeah,
I don't think they're going to get anything there. They've got Burnley away. Right, they've got Man United at home, then Bournemouth at home, and then Liverpool away, and then Fulham at home, and then Man City at home. This notion that suddenly West Ham are going to string 3-4 wins in a row together while we pick up no points, I just don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. And then by the time we come out of that period, we've actually then got some games where we could get points. And God forbid, maybe we get some points in the next 3 or 4 games. This is Spurs. We always pick up
It
something.
would be Spurs, yeah.
Right?
It would be Spurs, wouldn't it?
Because let's be fair.
On
If we
6-game winning streak.
Yeah.
if we were to win this weekend,
Beat
big,
United, Arsenal, all of them.
right, long shot, right? If we were to win this weekend, I think it's a long shot, but let's say we win this weekend and West Ham lose to Chelsea. Suddenly, you're 11 points clear, and we're going, this is not a relegation battle. Right? This is why when people go, oh, we're getting relegated. Well, at the moment, we're not there. We did this last year. I remember everybody doing this last year. Cool, we're getting. I was like, no, we're not. No, we're not. We're not getting relegated, right?
Spurs fans, they're just very, very emotional and very reactionary.
I just don't see that we're going down at all. If we do go down, yeah, if we do, it's absolutely disastrous for this football club, by the way.
We ain't coming back up. People think we'd bounce back up. We wouldn't come
I
back
agree.
up.
I agree with you, James. We're
I
not.
think we'd fall apart even more, James, as a football club.
Yeah,
Ticket
so.
prices would have to be slashed in half.
What they'll do is they would up the ticket prices to cater for the less money they get TV revenue.
Everything goes up in the stadium. The food, the
Everything
drink.
goes up. Everything, yeah. But I agree. Look, I think for me, like I've said it a lot of the time, I think Frank should be doing better than he is. Personally, that's my opinion. But I'm not an idiot to look at this squad and go, we should be top half. I've said for so long, this front line is absolute dreadful. I got told about Kolo Muani. I said, you're all mad. I don't know what you see in him. I got told, even about Xavi, to be fair, I was 50-50 with Xavi. I had people telling me that he's the best attacking midfielder in the league now. And I was just like, look, prove me wrong. I think look, our fans are so starved of anything. The moment something happens, they go 0 to 5 million, and then it's back to 0 again. There's no gap in between. It's like, well, he's the best in the league. I mean, Van de Ven. People say Van de Ven, best left-sided centre back in the league. This is gonna piss a lot of people off. I don't think the guy's very good at defending. I genuinely don't think he's a very good defender. I think what he does do, fantastic. Pace, power, striding forward, passing, good. One-on-one defender, I see him get skinned a lot more than I do actually stand his man up and win the ball back. So, Van de Ven.
Van de Ven.
I don't get me wrong, I don't think he's a bad player. I think he's a very good player. But the way people talk about him, it's like he's the next Maldini, when, quite frankly, I don't think it's one-on-one defense.
James, how many players do we do this with? Like, when our fans say, we've got the best centre-back pairing in the league, again, this is my sentence to nearly every Spurs fan with their responses at the moment. Based on what? Like, based on what? But we love it. We elevate them to a position which these players aren't at, and then wonder why we're not doing as well as we used to. Look, I think Mickey van der Ven is a good player. I think he's a good player who's still young enough as a centre-back to learn. I feel sorry for him because I think the last 2 years he wasn't developed as a player. What we just did was say, right, sorry, Mickey, can you just keep tracking back and running 50 yards to cover the ball over the top? I think we've seen improvement this year from Mickey van der Ven, and I think he's a good player. But there's still a lot for Mickey to work on. Like when he is one-on-one, you do see that if it's a situation that doesn't involve pace, he's outdone. The pace gets him out of trouble. That's not a knock. He's young enough that he will learn and we will grow. But what did our fans do? Immediately, best centre-back in the world. Best centre-back in the... And you're like, whoa, like we just go from 0 to 100 so quick on footballers. He's a good Premier League player. For me, he's been one of our most consistent this year for sure.
Last year, I'd say.
But we want to do this with so many. They're the best. He's amazing. Bergvall, he's the best young player in the country. Whoa, it's like everything is so hyperbolic. It's so hyperbolic with every player. I need to see it before I believe it. I need to see it.
Isn't it the same with the youth as well? Like, I remember doing a show before the season started with Sean saying Jamie Donnelly should be sold now. Now is his peak value is now. He's had one good season. You sell him, get 10 million for him. I think we were talking about a 10 million fee. I said, get your 10 million, sell him, off he goes. And if he is a Spurs boy and he wants to come back, you make that decision at a later date. everyone was like, no, you're crazy, top quality. He's gone out and done absolutely nothing. And that 10 million now has dropped to 1 million, 2 million. Now we're £8 million out of pocket. We're hyping up players that are not very good.
I
It's the
blame
same
Ruben
with
for that.
It's the same with Archie Gray. It's the same with Bergvall. Bergvall's dreadful. Not dreadful, but he
No, but
definitely ain't
I
Premier
feel
League.
sorry
He's
for
not
him,
Premier
James.
League.
James, I feel
Oh, the
sorry
Berg-
for. I feel sorry.
Yeah,
I
so
feel
do I.
sorry for them, right? Because fans like me and you, all of us, we're forced to judge them as first team players, right? Because that's where they where they're in the team. For me, I've always stated the same thing. When we bought Bergvall and Gray, you didn't need both, right? Bring one in, develop one, right? When when we bought in Odegaard and Tell, didn't need both. Bring in one and develop them. But what all of those young players, and this is where I do feel sorry for, whilst I don't think they're amazing and I've not seen anything where I go, oh my God, you're excellent. What I do feel sorry for them is they should be playing off the bench and learning off of better players. Right now, if you've got, let's say Odegaard is your left winger, your rotation young left winger, you should have a top left winger in front of him. And then when that left winger gets injured or suspended or last 15 minutes of the game, that's where you go, right, Odegaard, go on, enter the game, show us what you're about. What we've done is we've bought so poorly and so many young players so badly that we've had to put them all in the first team. Tonight, you will have, right? Tonight, Gray has to play in the middle, right? Gray should not be having to be used as the main man in a must-win game like this. Right, that's not Gray's fault. That's not his fault.
He might not be, Sav. He might not be because Sar's back.
Oh, sure. But you get my point, right?
Yeah,
Same with Bergvall. Bergvall, for me, if he was coming into, by the way, I don't really know what Bergvall is. I think Bergvall's got something there. I can't really tell you what it is. But Bergvall, for me, was brought in, played way too much football last year because of the injuries, was put on a pedestal.
Yep.
And then everyone going, he's the greatest young. But I haven't seen enough from him. But I don't blame him for that, if that makes sense. I blame Tottenham and their recruitment team and their lack of planning.
Well,
I also think that if... Oh, sorry, go on, Chris.
I was just chuckling at the comment Mark just put in the chat. I don't know if Lubo's seen that Donnelly's not even getting in the Oxford squad now.
He's injured,
Chris, he was picked for his first match after joining Oxford, and he got injured after 17 minutes.
I was injured. That's fair enough. At least there's a reason.
Yeah.
With what you said there, Savva, it's sort of like, I mean, just another sort of opinion on it is, say, for example, you had, I don't know, Scott Parker and Tom Hiddleston, I don't know, and you're winning 3-0. Surely if you're winning 3-0 and you're bringing a Gray or a Bergvall on, they're going to learn a lot more, feel a lot more comfortable, and you'll probably get a lot more out. The fact that we're 2-0 down and then you're looking to your bench and it's like, right, Archie Gray, I think to half of their performances is probably mental rather than actually what they're capable of. And by that, I mean, they're asked to come in, they're asked to come into a game where you're losing 2 or 3-0 or 1-0 or whatever it is. I think that for a young kid is so emotionally stressful, draining, and everything above. Whereas if they're winning 2 or 3-0, you're a completely different game. I mean,
sorry,
completely different ages and different.
I'm seeing Bergvall and Enzo Fernandez being compared, and I just think this goes back to my point earlier, doesn't it, about how we put players on a pedestal. Enzo Fernandez compared to Lucas Bergvall. I mean, I know exactly what Enzo Fernandez is as a footballer.
Can I just touch on what you were saying, James, quickly? Savva, is that right? You said about the mental side of it, right? I think that's a massive part of the modern game today, because if you look at how it was 10, 15 years ago, social media like Instagram, TikTok, all these kind of things weren't really what they are today, right?
No,
and I think because the players are our players now are living in a different generation now, with social media so heightened, right? These players, when they have a bad performance, they'll see it all over social media. They'll see all the fans ripping into them, all this kind of stuff, right? And I think that also plays on them when they go play it in front of 60,000 home fans, right? And I think that also plays on the mental side of why they seem to be struggling at the moment, playing at home, and why they play better away. We've got the the third or fourth best record in the league away from home, but yet we've got the worst in the Premier League at home or something like this. And but that's been going on for the last 2 years at home. So I think there's a lot to do with how these players deal with the pressure, right, when they're playing at home, and with how everything's, well, all the shit that's going on with the club right now. So I think it's a massive part of it as well.
It's not just the young. I mean, look, I'm happy to sort of back down on the whole Vicario should stay kind of situation, but we're told he's in the leadership group, and if you look at him this season or the last 10, 15 games, the guy's shot. He blasted the ball at a centre back from like point blank range. Like, why are you even doing that? That for me is where I feel a little bit sorry for Frank, because no matter what he does at the moment, there is so much pressure in that home stadium to actually get that win or get up there and start winning, that I think the players feel, all of them, not just the kids, all of them feel that if they make a mistake, we're going to concede. And if we concede, there's 60,000 people booing. I mean, we're seeing little bits and pieces, even if they're all gathering in the centre circle. Even when we're winning, they're gathering in the centre circle. You know, and you're like,
James, that's why you've got to buy players with mentality. Like, if you move that on, you have a look, right? When we're linked to Andy Robertson, our fan base has a hissy fit. That is a man who's not going to be fazed by the crowd. He's a winner. He's the current Premier League left back, Premier League winning left back. He's the captain of Scotland. And we go, oh, what a shit sign. We need footballers like that. We need men that go on that pitch 100%. And aren't scared of making a mistake, right? We don't have enough of them. And this is what I mean. If those young players aren't ready to take that responsibility on their shoulders, then they shouldn't be in a squad at Tottenham Hotspur yet. But my problem isn't that we buy a couple of young players. It's that we've bought so many. It's that we've bought so many, and then the first thing we do this window, let's go and buy another 19-year-old player. And you're like, oh my God, we don't need any more 19-year-old players. We just don't need any more 19-year-old footballers. But we will, and we do, you know, and then everyone, oh, that's Sosa. I've seen a video. He's like Roberto Carlos. Oh my God, stop. And what will happen, James? The moment Sosa makes his debut, he'll put in one great cross or something, and people will go, oh, fucking hell. Oh my God. This guy in 5 years, it's like, just...
That'd be Lubo.
I think the problem is, I think I've just seen Phil's, just on this subject, are fans supposed to reward players when they play badly? I think that if players are going out onto a pitch, and we all want as fans, we all want our players to do well, and they are, and they're getting major grief from the crowd. I think sometimes the crowd have got to back off a little bit and get behind players and encourage them. Because at the end of the day, we're all going there. We're spending hard-earned money, taking time out to go and support the team. We want that team to do well. So, you know, I think it's constant booing. I don't think does any good at all.
I would rather people chant.
We had this chat, didn't we, ages ago, and there were people going, everyone's got a right to boo, and they have. But the problem is it's a double-edged sword. If you are not playing well, you are not going to get confidence from booing. If you are young and haven't been there, seen it and done it, you're not going to get confidence from booing. And when I was at the stadium, what was it, last week or whatever, and I'll see you there this week as well, Lupo. I always like seeing your little smiling face when you walk into the pub.
Come around to the prawn sandwich section where me and Lubo sit.
Okay, I will do, mate. I will do. There's no atmosphere. And I know it has to be, I know it has to work both ways. But in the stand, I was thinking in the second half, this team needs a boot. They need a boost, right? And a couple of people next to me said, come on, Spurs. And me and my mate John, we stood up and we were all, and everyone's just sitting down. And I'm thinking, something needs to happen. There needs to be a spark. There needs to be a reaction. There needs to be something. And it's not there. But the booing is something that bothers me. I don't like the idea of booing anyone. I don't know anybody that's ever been booed and has gone, right, I feel like I'm going to do much better now. I just don't think that's how human psychology really works.
All these players, when the player makes a mistake, they know better than anybody else that they've made a rick. And I think, you know, if you're going to have a go at the end of the match, But I think,
Well, why can't you chant? Why can't you chant like certain things? You know, I don't hear anyone chanting about Enoch, leave it, or not, obviously not leave it, but Enoch. I don't hear people having sort of negative chants along those lines. It's all just booing the whole time, and that's look. Everyone's entitled to do what they want. You just said people pay a lot of money, a lot of time to go there. I could have gone when you guys had the protest, but I had football with my son, and I wasn't prepared to miss anything and pay that amount of money to go. No chance am I paying to watch these players play football.
Yeah.
And that may be a fake fan or whatever, but I don't see the value in paying all of this money to go watch Richarlison and Don Solanke tell. For me, I'd rather go just spin me money in a roulette machine or something. I'd get more joy out of that. And that's just wait, and I don't even gamble. Do you know what I mean?
James,
I don't gamble
it's
at
not
all.
even being a fake fan. I hate that term, right? It's more that you've got other responsibilities and other things you'd rather do that actually pleases you rather than watch that dross.
Mate, if I was sitting at home in my pants, I still wouldn't go down there. So it's not even about I've got anything else to do. I will not spend money to go there to watch this at the moment. Enoch don't deserve my money. With the players that like, I would say, okay, what am I spending my money on? Tell me what I'm spending my money on. I don't go into a shop and go, right, here's 500 quid or £1,000. Give me a telly. Would you want to look at it? Nah, I don't care. Just give me the box then. Like, I want to know what I'm getting for my money. And these level of players, they're not worth a fiver a game. I'm not paying to watch Tell, Odebert, Richarlison, Kolo Muani. No, thank you. I'd rather keep my money. So I'm not saying that that's right either. I've said on previous streams, mate, I take my hat off to people like Lubo, Chris, that travel up and down, go everywhere, abroad. Mate, I take my hat off because if it makes you a better fan, it makes you a better fan. I would not spend the time, let alone the money. And the time and money come hand in hand. So for me, fair play, because so far this club have shown us absolutely nothing with the level of investments in this club. And I mean, they're even coming out and saying to our face, but now I said halfway through a transfer window that he's going to back this squad. We need to improve the first team. For
James,
me,
what about this? I did print this picture to bring on. What about this?
Yeah.
About this, right?
For me,
yeah. The interesting thing is, and I'm going to wrap up in about 7-8 minutes, guys. But the interesting thing is, lots of reports are coming out today about Basuma leaving for Turkey as well. I just want to talk just really quickly, guys. Aren't we in a bit of a position though where I'm seeing people going, "Oh my God, I can't believe we're going to let him go." Aren't we in a position now where we're kind of damned if we do and damned if we don't? Everyone's been asking for this guy to be moved on for years. Then when they're about to move him on, we're all going to go, "Oh my God, you can't move him." Are we now at the stage where we're almost like we like the pain of not being happy about any decision? Like, are we literally looking to moan at everything?
No, so I think with Basuma, I think it's the fact that Bentancur and Bergvall are out on long-term injuries, and you get another couple of injuries, and then you're down to a couple of players left who are going to play every single game. So,
what have you got? Gallagher.
You got Gallagher, Paulinho, Gray, and
Sarr.
Four.
Okay, and then Curtis Jones coming in on deadline day.
For me personally, go on. For me personally, the people that are going to complain about Basuma leaving now for a fee are exactly the same people that are going to complain at the end of the season when he leaves for free. So no matter what the club do, they've got their answer either way. We've just sold him when we really need him, or if he goes for free, what big club lets them players go for free? So I don't care anymore.
I mean, you can go through a season, James, with Sarr, Paulinho, Gray, Conor Gallagher, possibly bringing in one. I've said Curtis Jones because I feel like that is a deal Tottenham will do. By the way, brilliant passer of a football, Curtis Jones, by the way.
Is that a trick question? We could go for a season with those midfielders. They're all crap. What are you trying to say to me?
Hang on. I'm looking at. I'm looking at how many games.
I know.
Let's face it. If Basuma was to go, it's got deadline day written all over it, isn't it? Right. So by then we would have played Man City and played Frankfurt. So by then we will have 14 Premier League games left, and depending on whether or not we've got a couple of playoff games, or straight into the knockout stage of the Champions League. But we can't have it both ways, right? We can't. Last month, we want him gone. This month, you need him to stay to cover, because that's not how it works with the ins and outs of making money and bringing players in, right? So if right now there's a bid for Basuma and we don't see him as important for the club after this year, you've got to move him on, right? You've got to. Surely.
He's put into okay-ish performances, so now he's like the next Beckenbauer in the fan
right.
base.
And this is what we do, Chris. This is what we do. He puts in a couple of games and we all go, hang on, we need him for the... Before that, everyone was saying, I never want to see Basuma in a Spurs shirt again.
No, but Bentancur and Bergvall have been injured over the last 4 weeks, haven't they? So, you know, you've got to sometimes you've got to look
you bought in Conor Gallagher to replace one of them.
Okay.
Haven't you? You bought in Gallagher. You've got Gallagher, Sarr, Gray, Paulinho.
That's it. You got 4.
Sure. So
okay, it's such a hard one, because
this is what I mean. We can't say anything, right? So if I say sell him, it's wrong. If you say don't sell him, it's wrong. Just remember, like James said, my boy James Flower, just remember what he just said. If we get to the summer and we make no money for him, we can't complain. If you want to keep him now, you can't complain that he goes on a free in the summer.
No, of course not.
I would rather the club gets something from him now if he is not going to be a part of the future. We're in such a mess that is he the difference between staying up or not? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think when everyone's fit, Paulinho and Gallagher are going to be the two. I don't think.
I think he brings something else to the table, but for me, it's the famous kind of look how good our players are when they come back. But people praise the players that are here already, i.e. Bergvall, Grays. People think they're good players until you see Basuma play. People think, you know, the common one is Kulu. Every single man and their dog was complaining about how slow Kulu is on the ball and how crap he is. And now he's going to be our saviour. And that's not to say that he's not a good player. He's levels above what we've got now. That's why people are kind of looking at him as the saviour, when really, if you look at him in the grand scheme of things, he's not good enough for Tottenham Hotspur. But because we've got Odegaard and Tell, that guy's looked at as prime Messi in compared to those two. So for me, it's that prime sort of solution of you forget how bad they are until they come back. So Basuma has had a couple of good games. He'll have 2 or 3 bad games, and people go, "Why didn't we sell him?" It's the same for me for Kulu. Kulu will come back and people go, he's so slow on the ball. He gives it away, very one dimension. And then they'll go, oh, well, who else is going to save us? For me, there's a lot of if, buts and maybes until you actually see quality. Everyone debates about the right wing until we built Kudus in. Now there's no conversation. Everyone will debate about the cam until Maddison's back, and then there'll be no conversation. No one debates about the centre-backs because there's no conversation. For me, when they're all rubbish, everyone's going to debate him, her. They're not good enough. And that's the same with Basuma. Basuma's had 2 okay games. He's not good enough. So would we sell him now for money or let him go for free? Yeah, well, it's a lose-lose, isn't it?
I always find the thing is people always talk so dramatically. So like what I've said before is Kulu's a good player. I've never gone overboard by him. I've never watched Kulu and gone, oh my God, you're amazing. But you know, the problem is we don't replace players like that with better. That's the problem, right? So like right now, because of the average nature of the forwards that we've got in this team, they make Kulu look much better than he is, but he is still better, right? So when Kulu comes back in, you go, yeah, good player. But our fans go, cool, he'd get in any team in the league, and he's no, he's a good footballer. He grabs some goals, he grabs some assists. Sometimes I think he holds onto the ball too long, but compared to the Odegaards and the Tells and he is a level above them. Now, what I want to see as a Spurs fan is that we go and buy Kulu level players as a minimum. As a minimum, that's the level I want to see. But you're right, James. We don't buy better, and it's only when we have signed better that we realise all the players we argued about weren't actually that good. Do you know what I mean? When you bring in,
absolutely. And people tend to say, like I sort of comment there, oh, what? So, like Flower said, Kulu ain't good enough for Tottenham Hotspur. Mate, go back 5 years ago and tell me where Kulu's getting in that squad. Like, no, yeah, now he fits in our squad now, but that's because our squad is bottom five in the Prem, bottom 10 in the Prem. Go back under Poch. Where does he get in? Under Conte, where does he get in? Like, I'm sorry, now he gets in, yeah, but that's because the bar has fallen so far down that he is looked as a saving light. When realistically, like I said, Poch, does he get into that team? No. Conte,
But
Bal,
James,
Son,
the thing
Kane,
is,
no.
Kulu's the type of player you want in your squad because he offers you something very different.
I'm not saying that though. I'm talking. I was more talking about first 11. Sorry, like I wasn't saying. I was saying first 11.
No, I agree. I think right now like, Kulu's levels above what you got, but
absolutely,
yeah.
But I think Kulu is what Kulu is a. As I said, you know, it feels like as fans now, you can't just think a player's good. They've got to be shit or amazing. I think Kulu's a very good squad player. I think he's a good player. If he starts week in, week out, there's no real complaints. Is he a level where I think he could play for the big clubs? No, I don't particularly think so. I don't think he's got the legs for that. But compared to what we've got now, we've not improved. We have not improved. I don't think he's a winger. If I'm brutally honest, I don't think he's particularly a right winger. What I do know is if Maddison and Kulu were playing right now, we wouldn't be in the position we're in. We'd have loads more goals and loads more assists. Doesn't mean they're world class, but this is the thing. When you say that, people automatically go, "Oh, you didn't like him." It's not that I didn't like him. He's good. He's good enough. But when I see the drop off from him to an Odeber or him to a Tell or an Archie Gray or the drop off is huge. Like it's
people are saying that he gets into the Poch team in the chat. He gets into the Poch team.
Nowhere near
Ericsson, Dele Alli, Heung-min Son. I'm sorry.
Nowhere near it.
Yeah, I can only imagine that they never saw that sort of squad play football.
He's nowhere near it.
He's the kind of player, though, that if we'd have had that quality on the bench with Poch's team,
agreed,
over the line, we might.
Fact. Yeah, agree with that.
Agreed.
See, I think people have missed what I said as well. I think like Ellie, you've missed the point. I'm saying if you are building a squad, like if Tottenham are going to build a squad like what Villa are doing, like what Arsenal, Liverpool, these clubs are doing, then I'm saying Kulu's a really good player that doesn't have to start every week, but he's very good for the squad, can start, bench, whatever. In this is my point. Right now, he is undoubtedly walks into the 11. And that's a worrying place for me that we've not improved on the last few years. We've not improved from that.
Isn't it damning, Savva, that we've gone from Dele Alli, Ericsson, Son, where Kulu would never even touch that team, and now we're comparing with Odegaard, Tell, and Richarlison, and he walks into that team.
And what people are doing is they're picking the worst players out of the Poch team. They're saying he's better than Lucas or he's better than Eric Lamela. It's like, hold on. Yeah, exactly. Or they're saying Eric Lamela.
James, you're talking about this team.
Absolutely.
We're talking about this. Yeah.
Kulu take me back.
Take me back. But
where do I find that?
But how good would it have been in games where we could go, right, Dele,
100%.
You're tired this week. Kulu, you're going in. Ericsson, you're not playing this week. Kulu, you're like,
of course. That's
what Tottenham should have done. We always argue about first 11s. This is why we are. Yeah, this is why we are where we are as a club. We constantly talk about first 11. Who gets in what 11? Build a squad, then we can have the chat. You look at Villa. You look at Villa. 1 week they can have Onana and McGinn as the centre mids. The next week they could have Tielemans and Kamara. Right? They could play 3 of them. They could play 4 of them. Options. We don't have options. We don't even have a proper first 11 built. Like that's worrying, right? That's truly worrying. So, look, it is what it is. But yeah, there you go. We rate Kulu now that we have had to play Tottenham about the season. Many of you on the panel didn't rate him before. Again, he doesn't listen, does he? This is the problem. This is the problem. You've not listened, right? Kulu's a good player. He's a good player, but I've never gone, wow, He's a good player. But the problem is we've now had to drop down so many levels below that we're going, oh, my God, we need Kulu back. If Tottenham had anything about us, we're not arguing about that. If Tottenham had anything about us right now, we'd be talking about, right, you got Kulu and Simmons and Maddison and Kudus and
a
Akliou.
Lookman.
Right, and Lookman. Right, which 2 or 3 start this week, which 2 or 3 don't. And again, it's point scoring. Again, everything is point scoring.
Agreed.
Right? Everything is point scoring. This isn't about Kulu being amazing. Kulu will do what Kulu does. Yeah, for me, the big miss is James Maddison. Said this for years. The bigger miss is James Maddison.
Yep.
And aren't we all realising now as a fan base just how bloody good James Maddison is?
Do you know what's funny, Savva? Do you know what's funny? Last season, when James Maddison wasn't playing, every single time we couldn't win games or we'd lose games, everyone would say, we need James Maddison. We need James Maddison.
And also, people were moaning at him for not winning us the games when he could have. The amount of people was going, Maddison's underperforming, Maddison's rubbish. Where was Maddison? I remember me and Savva doing shows saying, I can't remember the exact game, but it happened 3 times. He got the ball in the last third. He turned, no runners, and then he turned back and would play it back to like Porro or whoever it was in the field. Every time he did it 4 or 5 times in one game. And I come on the show after the game with Savva and said, you can see he's trying. He's done the hard bit. He's turned, look for space. No one's there. You don't just play the pass to nobody. So he would rather keep the ball, go back and pass back. And people were knocking him for it. I mean, look, I think that we're all deprived of good players. And now this generation are praising. I mean, who gets into the Poch team is just crazy, man. I don't think I've heard a worse take in my life.
James, look, you look at these numbers, right? Throughout his Premier League career, we have no one at that level at all right now. Right. And then you look at this. This is James. This is since his Premier League debut. Look at those ranks where he is. Look at those ranks of where he is. And I remember last year, you got Spurs fans going, "Oh, we need better than Maddison." Maddison is the least of our problems. Maddison walks into this team for me by a country mile.
Yeah, 100%.
Big question is going to be, does James Maddison come back same? Does he come back stronger? Does he come back work? Like, we'll see. He's running. He's in training. He's running, but he's as close to I don't even want to use the word. He's as close to a maverick type footballer that we've got. Someone that just makes something happen out of nothing. None of these in this current squad do.
And the thing for me is that talent, I think he's a great player. Or before his injury, he was a great player. But he actually cares. Like, he actually cares. And I think that's quite rare in our squad. I don't see many people getting upset about this squad losing week in, week out. Maybe you'd say Van der Ven, Spence, maybe Romero, Porro. Other than that, I look at Maddison, and from what I've seen on YouTube videos and what I've seen of him and the way he talks, he actually wants to play for Tottenham. I think in his first interview, he said, he said, I think he said in one of his first videos or his interview, I just always saw myself at Tottenham. I'm a Tottenham kind of player. And that for me, I'm like, I love seeing that. I love hearing that. So for me, technical side, I think he's unreal. I would just love to have a couple of players that actually want to play for the club going forward.
Yep, couldn't agree more. But we got Muani instead.
Yeah. Look, guys, let's leave it there. Look, I think whatever happens, look, I end my shows always by saying this. No matter how much we row and we debate, we all would love Spurs to have a plan and turn the corner, right? Without the point scoring, I think we'd all love to be sitting here next year, right, at this time saying, isn't it a breath of fresh air that we're in the top 5? Look at the 5-6 players we bought in the summer. How good are they? The manager's getting the... I think we'd all like to be able to sit here doing that, right? And that's the key thing for me as a Spurs fan. Listen, I'll end the show on this. Sack him. Don't sack him. Do what you've got to do. Just have a plan. Do not let this be a Stellini Mason type scenario. Because if that happens and the players don't play at all for the new manager, so I don't think they're not playing for him, by the way. If you actually look, no one's battering us. We're losing by the odd goal, right? We're not getting ripped apart.
We have actually been playing better in a lot of the games. We started. You can see we started to play a bit better. Maybe not to the levels what Spurs fans want just yet, but we are a little bit playing better. We are.
I think Burnley was a better, but I don't know about anything. I think Burnley, we created chances, and that's for me where I would say Frank got the stick for that. You can't create that many chances and not score and still blame Frank because he's created the chances to score. So Burnley, I would say but West Ham no, and a few but.
Just quickly, by the way, guys, I will have a watch along tonight, probably live from about 6:45 for Frankfurt. Chris, I'm going to start with you. Score prediction for Frankfurt, because funnily enough, Chris, we win this game tonight. All of a sudden, Spurs have gone through in the top 5 of the Champions League stages, and no one's mentioning any of that positive.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I said, Savva. They default to the negative. That's what people do.
If
they don't look at anything positive.
Top 5 of that Champions League stage, can't we all? Chris, I'm going to say it, Chris, because I know you're going to agree with me on this. What happened to the whole, the league doesn't matter, it's about competitions? Well, we're still in a competition, right? So doesn't Frank deserve to
12 months ago was you can't sack him while we're in Europe, but apparently that's different this year.
Right.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Chris, Frankfurt.
Nuts. I blame Stel.
I'm known for my relentless optimism when doing score predictions. So I'm going to go for the most Spursy of games where we'll take the lead, and someone then said, "Who's going to score?" And I said, "Oh, it'll be an own goal." So we'll take the lead, and then we'll maybe Danso long throw, get nodded in at the far post or something. Then we'll concede an injury time 97th minute equaliser, and it'll be 1-1, and then we'll just drop out back into the playoffs. That's going to be my prediction. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Okay, Lubo, score prediction. Frankfurt have got nothing to play for, but that is also a very dangerous place to be, right? They've got no pressure on this game.
Haven't won a game since mid-December either.
Well, they've just sacked their manager, haven't they?
And he's lost every game since.
Quickly, just before you give your prediction, I'm interested to see what happens here, because I was on a show the other day where everybody was negative, how crap we are, how we're gonna get relegated, we're rubbish, and they all predicted that we'd win. So I'm just interested to see what you're gonna say.
Well, we had this on our show last night. I think all of us predicted the Spurs win, based on Frankfurt, who have had a very average season this year. They're 9 points off the Champions League and the Bundesliga. They went out on penalties in the first round of the German Cup. They beat Galatasaray 5-1 in the first Champions League group match. Lost 5-1 in the next one, and since then they've got 1 point only. They've scored in 27 games. They've scored 50, and yet they've conceded 62. So based on that,
scouting report from Lubo, isn't it?
Based on that, I'm going for a 3-2 Spurs win.
I just find it amazing, though. We're rubbish, and we're going to get relegated. We're in real trouble. We can't beat anybody, but we'll go away in Europe and win. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's funny. But listen, let's hope Lubo's right. Danny,
I think it's going to be a very, very close game. I think we'll just edge it. It'll either be 1-1 or 2-1 Spurs, but I think we'll just edge it in this game. 2-1 Spurs.
James Flower.
So everything is screaming towards Dr. Tottenham, but I think we're going to batter them. I'll be honest with you. I think we're actually going to beat them quite quickly. I'm going to say something like 4-1. I think we'll get a couple of early goals, and then it'll be sort of self-destruct from them personally. So I'm going to go saying like a 4-1.
So Chris, based on James's confidence, you're booking your hotel room.
Balls, massive balls.
Well, if anyone cares, my head says 2-2. My heart says Spurs will win, but I think fair play. I mean, if we can get over the line tonight, I mean, we could talk about Frankfurt's problems. We are also a mess. So it's.
Do you know one thing as well, Savva? If we were to win and James's prediction was right, the Spurs fans will still find something to moan about Thomas Frank. I guarantee you.
What, if we win tonight?
Yeah, if we win tonight, and if we were to win convincingly, They'll
be
still
on the
find
player.
something.
No,
to
no,
motivate.
no. He'll get a nice off, Danny. He'll
No,
get
he
a nice.
won't.
No, they
he
won't. No, he won't. No, he
He'll
won't.
get a nice off.
Danny, do you know
Lubo,
what will
you
happen?
think we're going to get relegated?
Danny,
No,
Danny,
I
do you
think
know what will happen?
What I think, Danny, is that we're not in the relegation zone yet, but we are in relegation form.
Yeah.
Danny, you know what I think will happen is tonight, we know, I think other than Sarr or Gray, I don't think there's any other option of first team player that could come in. Whatever sub he has to make, he will still be cussed for it. No matter what. Like there will be people when the team gets lined up tonight, there will be people in my chat going, oh, look at that 11, as though he's got any options of what to choose, right? And then if you have to bring on a Byfield, for example, because someone gets injured, people are going, oh my God, bringing on a kid in this game.
Yeah.
Listen,
That's exactly it.
we'll see. Guys, girls, let me just quickly do a couple of super chats. Just that, not a lot today. Big up Paul Brown, who's become a YouTube member. Big up to you, Paul. I think renewing his membership. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much, my man. Thank you. Big up to Dan, my boy, Dan Harris, who said, how does this mess benefit ENIC investment? So odd. I don't know, mate. No one knows. I mean, we had the breaking news, didn't we, 2 months ago that Spurs were going to chuck in 100 million to support the manager in the window. That hasn't happened. There's rumours of war chests, but there's always a war chest that it's like Where's Wally? There's a war chest, just no one can find it in North London anywhere. And we have got to the 28th, and I believe so far our net spend is 12 million quid. If I'm not wrong, I believe our net spend is 12 million pounds.
That's funny.
So when we're worried about, should they get an interim to save us? Do they give a shit? I mean, I don't even know if they give a shit. I just don't know if they care. Big up to you, Dan. And also thank you to somebody sent me a coffee. Marios. Thank you very much, Marios. Always appreciate my man. Said big up and drink up on me, Savva. Big up to you. Really appreciate it. Look, guys, who knows? The one thing, just before we end the show, right? I'll tell you what, Jesus, anything I say, this guy finds a way to refute it. Anything I say. Like, literally, it's Wednesday and Spurs are playing. Well, not technically, because somewhere in the world, it might be Thursday. Oh, my God, it's hard work. What I will say is this. The one thing that gives me the 1% of hope is that Spurs seem to be doing deals in the last couple of windows out of nowhere. That is the one thing that's given me hope, is that. Now, 1% hope, by the way, guys. That 1%. But I'm telling you, and the other 99% of me can see this happening. Don't all react at once. The other 99% of me can all see this happening. Raheem Sterling on a free. I can just see it.
Yeah, we can all see it.
I'd rather keep Odegaard.
So would I. I actually would rather keep Odegaard. I think he's probably he's one of the most improved players this season, which says a lot.
It's dreadful.
We'll see, guys. Look, I'm going to leave it there. Let's see what happens. Breaking news on Sky Sports. Oh, Tyson Fury coming out of retirement again.
Of course, that was inevitable.
Guys, I'll see you tonight. Who knows? Mawani could be off. Basuma could be off. Who's coming in?
Do you know what would be
Is
funny though?
anyone
Before you
coming
go,
in?
Sav, if they get rid of Muwani and like Basuma, and we don't sign anyone, I think that's just going to be even more Comedy Central. Like that is just going to be unbelievable.
It's a
honestly.
double-edged sword.
But they'll still blame Frank for that.
It's a double-edged sword because I think both of them need to go.
Yeah.
But we also need football. It's such a double-edged sword. And any other football club, if this was Chelsea, what would Chelsea do? They'd have those two out, and by tomorrow night they'd have two more in, right?
Yep.
That's what they do. I've got a feeling, just to round this off, that we will, by hook or crook, get Robertson. I think that Liverpool or Roma, between them, will sort that out. I think we will get Robertson, and we will end it with Robertson, Sosa, and Gallagher, and no forwards. That's where I think I am.
Probably right.
I just think it's. To be honest, I feel like because of the whole Frank hate, ENIC have got themselves another alibi, and that is Frank's going to go at the end of the season, so we didn't want to waste money on buying players for Frank. So I think it's just a lose-lose.
I tell you what, Alex, how old are you? Right? I think I was Enoch out when you were still in your dad's ball sack, mate. I mean, if you, I mean, Danny, how many years you know me, Danny, and how many years have I been Enoch out?
Yeah, a long time.
Right? I mean, Alex.
What I mean,
listen, I'm going to be honest, mate. Listen, please don't come in. I was Enoch out. Everyone knows the day. Do you remember which day was I Enoch out? Anyone?
the Martin Yole day when you got sacked.
Martin Yole days. When I got fans who have supported this club for a few years telling me, I wish you were like this. I'll tell you what then. Tell you what. Lubo, you know when people want to know why more people won't join the protest, right? Dickheads like this, Lubo. This is why people don't want to join the protest. If they join it, look at what they get. If they join it, they get stick for it, Lubo. Maybe
I think anybody that changes their mind regarding the protest and joins the protest, you've got to welcome them in, because this is what we need. We need more and more people.
I mean, Lubo, you've been Enoch out since before they were even here, mate, in 1972.
It's man. Alex does this every show. Alex does this every show. I wish you were Enoch out. Listen, I've always been Enoch out. I just never thought the protests were going to work, and I know that's quite difficult for him to get through their brain. But I've had enough now. I've had enough. Sorry.
It's so point scoring. It does my nut in. Point scoring. Well, you've changed your mind. Okay. So does that mean that everyone that said Kevin De Bruyne wasn't very good at Chelsea means he's a crap player? Like, it just does my head in. It really does my head in.
Idiot.
It does my nut in. Oh, I'm a bad person for changing my mind. Sorry.
Doesn't matter.
Danny, was that when Lubo had his 7-point manifesto written with a quill on some papyrus?
That's exactly it. It was already prepared. It was prepared.
20 years ago, the top one is Sign Archie Gray. He's not even born yet. Top one, Sign Archie Gray.
God. Don't worry. YouTube's coming to an end soon. I can't wait. I just can't listen to idiots like that. I just can't. Guys, Chris, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time. Lubo, thank you very much for your time. And Danny and James. Look,
Thanks, Sammy.
We'll see what happens. Enoch had the opportunity to show us that things were going to be different this window. And unfortunately, this is going down as either the same or before or worse than ever. So Enoch have run out of lifelines for me. Well, they run out years ago, but yeah. Guys, girls, thank you very much. Take care. Much love. I should probably send you over to somewhere. 1 second. This is what I say. You know when I say, guys, about WhatsApp groups, this is why people then go into WhatsApp groups, go, oh, Savva's not Enoch out. And you're like, oh, shut up. Like, it's so stupid. I'll send you over to Sean over at Football Inc. Sean and Johnny. Take care. Much love. Savva or FHTV Raid.